used to hear when you walk into the dressing room. You know, he kind of does his thing, very much lead by example. His work ethic is off the charts. He's defensively responsible, all that. I mean, even in the Jersey game, you know, he was crashing the crease. I think little things like that kind of send the message like, hey, my captain is buying into the way Berube wants us to play. I should too. But I wonder how much, if he takes this opportunity to be a little bit more vocal with teammates, whether it's pulling them aside or whether it's, you know, standing up and saying something in the media when things are sliding off the rails. We're not there yet, but the 82 games is a long season, and I wonder if we'll see some examples of him asserting himself a bit more.
Yeah, I think through Austin we could see the changes from coach to coach, right? Because he has the ability to do the things that Berube would want you to do, but he's also on the heels of scoring 69 goals. We were joking about this the other day. You know, if we're end of season and 70's there, the chase for 70, like it's not going to look like it looked like at the end of last year, where the Maple Leafs were basically playing fake games in the attempt to get points for guys and goals for guys. Like, I don't think that's going to happen in a Berube world, and it's certainly happened in a Sheldon Keefe world. So through Matthews, I expect to see the changes Berube wants to implement. Gord mentioned, you know, maybe the captaincy or shifting the captaincy helps John Tavares stick around longer. There have been some reports that they're talking, Tavares and the Maple Leafs, about an extension. I kind of worry about that, not because I don't think John Tavares should be part of the future here, but because I think you need to know exactly what John Tavares is in about 10 months' time before you actually put a number there. Do you have any consternation about signing a contract without, you know, 80 to 100 games worth of data points to pull from on the future of John Tavares?
Well, I just don't know what the rush is. And I do know that his agent, Pat Brisson, and the Leafs did start talking even in the summer, preliminary talks. And he wants to stay here. Like, he's got 3 young kids. He's got extended family here. He wants to retire a Leaf. You know, it's very evident. And I'm sure he's willing to take a little bit less to do so. And the Leafs, as we know, get very creative with front-loading the signing bonuses. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him extra term to keep his cap hit down. Like, there's a way to do it.
We don't have to go full shenanigans conspiracy, but he could work for this organization for the next 40 years if he wanted to.
He probably will.
Yeah.
Just as Sidney Crosby on the other side probably will with the Penguins. So that wouldn't surprise me at all. But because you know the guy wants to stay and doesn't really want to test the waters, what's the rush?
Well,
you know, let it play out a little bit.
I'm in that camp.
By the way, didn't he have a dispute with Revenue Canada about the signing bonus? So whatever about the structuring it, I don't know. That's
however that settles might clear things up for the Maple Leafs from a cap standpoint.
Look at Steven Stamkos last year. Okay, about when you've been around. Now Steven Stamkos does come back here in the summer, but Tampa Bay was his home, and you know you got kids, and so that's the rush. It's John Tavares. Look what he gave up. He was a hero. That's the wrong word. I don't like that word. But revered with the Islanders, okay? And he now incurs the wrath of them because he came here to come here. Like, he made that biggest jump in the modern-day unrestricted free agent era for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So he wants to be here. So I think that's a part of it, but I don't know what the number is. So Luke, that's going to be key. Like, what exactly? I mean, it's got to be a not just a haircut. He's got to get a brush cut. You know, it's got to be that if they're gonna sign him at this point.
Yeah, well, I think he's willing to make it work. Like, we talked about the captaincy, how he handled that. You know, when Ryan O'Reilly came, he was like very gracious about going to the wing. I think he realized
for one game.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think, you know, he's buddies with Stamkos. He's seen Stamkos go to the wing. Like, I think he's willing to sacrifice a little personal gain to make it work, whether becomes a 3C or he becomes a winger or whatever it may be. And the guy, like we saw it last game, the guy can still convert when he's in the slot, and he's willing to go there.
I'd love to see them go year by year. I know, like, that's probably unlikely.
The Bergeron plan.
And he's not, and I was going to say LeBron, where it's just like, you do a couple years at a time and you keep whatever your options open. And for him, it's like, okay, where can I chase this or that, or where are my other priorities being Hollywood and the like.
Just like us in sports broadcasting, year to year.
There you go. But if they just went every summer and be like, okay, this is how we make sure that you are doing the Crosby thing, where you're helping this team and never a burden, and we can accurately price you based on impact, position, all of that stuff. If they go that route, I know there's risk there, but I would love to see it.
Yeah, I just think hockey players like term because it's a full contact sport. You never know when it's gonna end. I think that's why or when you fall off. Like, it's a speed game too. Like, when you fall off, some of these guys fall off fast. So if I'm a player, you're probably pushing for turn. That's the catch.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen that way. Okay, last one for you. Anthony Stolarz gets the start tonight. We can be quick with this. How much confidence did he give you based on his start in Montreal?
Lots. And that's because it wasn't just a start in Montreal. It was his preseason too. And his posture. You know, you kind of forget just how much Samsonov was swimming. And then you see a guy who's calm and composed.
Big guy who's not swimming.
Big guy. Really good pickup. We'll see how he can handle a workload because there's no timeline yet for Joseph Woll.
No timeline on Woll, but getting better, quote from Craig Berube today. Luke, we appreciate the time. Have a great season. We'll be reading your work all the way through.
Yeah, have a great season, guys. Thanks for having me up here.
That's Luke Fox of Sportsnet. Okay, quickly, Gord. Yeah, we saw the lineup there. John Tavares not playing. We're going to get the introduction of the captain, Austin Matthews, shortly here. But, okay, you got 2 games worth of data. What's the one thing that you can pick out, whether it's the performance of Stolarz and Hildeby, the defense score? What from this group has given you some confidence here, has given you some, maybe not even confidence just in a general way, but confidence that's going to work with Craig Berube at the helm?
Okay, and by the way, in the background, the 48th Highlanders. You talk about tradition, so it's nice to hear them. They've been a staple of opening home games since the inception, going back to Conn Smythe's day. Answer your question, the depth of the... again, it's 2 games, but the third and fourth lines, the depth up front is the one that I felt the best. And they're playing better. They can easier adapt to the north-south style that Craig Berube wants, too. And, you know, that's how a lot of the goals they scored on because they didn't score any on game 1, but in New Jersey we're about that, you know, going for the net, taking that direct path, just being on top. So again, in this early small sample size, that's what I found the most positive and encouraging.
We are a couple minutes away from the Penguins and Maple Leafs from Scotiabank Arena. It is the home opener for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Kyle Dubas is in the building. Sidney Crosby's in the building. Anthony Stolarz versus Yoel Blomqvist. It's all happening here at Scotiabank Arena. We will do the lines on the other side. We'll go over some key matchups and also get you the player to watch. But yeah, it's always special, Gord, opening night in the NHL, the first game at home on a Saturday night for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And you mentioned the Highlanders out there doing their thing. All the cameras are out, and they will be out for the remainder of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I do like this tradition. And used to be a big thing about, well, I'm trying to think, well, once they had Chris Hadfield, he dropped the puck from outer space and it was carried. So they used to be a big thing, who drops the opening faceoff. It still has some cachet as far as it goes, but that's been part of the big ceremony part in all 32 rinks. But again, part of it tonight. Used to be a lot more tuxedos and stuff. That's not the way. It was kind of formal. If you were one of the directors on that, it was a big stuffier event back then.
Yeah, it's a little less stuffy now. I would like to see this on the 7 o'clock side. Has it ever been on the 7 o'clock side?
What's that?
The performance?
No, it used to be. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh no, there's some.
I'd like to see the band on the ice. There's some people that lament that this is not, the 48th Highlanders are not featured as much as they used to be. They're actually getting a little more time than they normally have. They were turning into those venues now that sing the anthem 20 minutes before the game. Yes.
They had that. They had short shrift a couple of times. They're getting a little more props now. So, but I agree. Yeah, when the big camera's on, I would have the Highlanders out there.
Yeah, it'd be exciting. I mean, the building's probably about half full at this moment, but it will be full to the rafters by the time puck drops. It's the Maple Leafs and the Penguins from Scotiabank Arena. It's the home opener on Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. We will tee up the rest of the game next.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Raymond DeWalt's invention of the radial arm saw in the 1920s ushered in a new era of job site productivity. And ever since, the DeWalt name has stood for the pros. From revolutionizing the electric job site to advancing cordless tools, DeWalt will always innovate to help build Canada. To celebrate 100 years of innovation, look for select DeWalt products for $100 at participating retailers while supplies last. Ends October 30th. Restrictions apply. See DeWalt.com.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks again for hanging out with us this evening. Please take a minute to hit that like button. What's up, hockey fans? Thanks again for hanging out with us this evening. Please take a minute to hit that like button down below. It helps bring more Leafs fans and hockey fans here in the chat to enjoy this great hockey game, because the Leafs are going to beat the Penguins tonight. Let's go. Spam that chat up. Go Leafs go. And take a second to hit that like button. And let's get back to the hockey. Don't forget to share the link out as well. That's the best way outside of hitting the like button to bring more hockey fans here to hang out with us. Now, with all of that good business out of the way, let's get back to the hockey and enjoy these buds. Cheers, everybody.
To watch.
This is someone who is ready for the bright lights.
Our experts are weighing in on the playoff hopes of your favorite team.
Defensively, they have zero weaknesses.
Hear conversations with the biggest stars in the game.
Talking to the one and only Steph Curry.
Talk with Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics.
Anthony Edwards.
I want to compete at the highest level.
We're previewing the season all this week on NBA Radio, Channel 86 in the car, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with the chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Michael Bunting of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You've always had the great ability to play with great players.
I think my style of play complements the top dogs, as you will, like kind of go to those harder areas in the corner in front of the net and kind of create space for them and get them the puck and, you know, help them create offense off of that. So kind of found a little niche with that.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Flyers defenseman Travis Sanheim.
Is it a rebuild type thing? Is it definitely a playoff team in your mind?
I think last season, I don't know if anyone in our room was saying rebuild. We thought that we could surprise some teams, and I think we did that. A lot of guys that are coming back, and then obviously adding Meat Scott's going to be huge. So, you know, we're looking forward to getting started and seeing if we can build off of last season.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Welcome into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick here for the Toronto Maple Leafs home opener versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a star-studded event when the Penguins and Maple Leafs go at it. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Sidney Crosby, Erik Karlsson, Evgeny Malkin. They're all on the marquee, but so are Anthony Stolarz and Yoel Blomqvist, two relatively unknown goaltenders in the grand scheme of things, matching up in a big one here tonight. Gord, but that doesn't take away from the excitement of seeing some of the best players on the ice going head-to-head. Beautiful night in October. No jacket on the way to the rink. These are one of the best times of the year, and a home opener for the Toronto Maple Leafs, always very exciting.
So, Justin, there's 82 regular season games, 41 home games, and they kind of meld together at different times. So there's certain ones that stand out. I still get a charge out of Saturday night because that's a tradition, Hockey Night in Canada, but just Saturday night, there's just a different animal about that. The other thing, there's certain marquee teams, and if you're giving up your home tickets in a season ticket cartel, the Pittsburgh Penguin tickets go quick because of Sidney Crosby and to a lesser extent Malkin and others, but they go quick. So you got the Penguins tonight, and then you got the opener. So we just had the 48th Highlanders on the ice. Just there's a magic and mystique about the home opener. So we got kind of a trifecta tonight heading into the game, and then on the other side, the trifecta is number 2 or number 3 goaltenders that have had to do the job for both teams so far early in the season that it wasn't quite expected to be that way a few weeks ago.
You're right. This is one you fight for. Home opener, check. Sidney Crosby in year 20, check. It seems like he'll play to at least year 2022, but how many more times is he going to be in this barn? You might be able to count it on both your hands. So exciting when Sidney Crosby is coming and passing through. Exciting when the Penguins and Maple Leafs are going at it at any time, but a Hockey Night in Canada and a home opener makes it extra special. Let's get you the lineups. First lineup news. John Tavares, the former captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, will not play tonight. He's out with an illness, was not at the morning skate, was not on the ice for warm-ups. Pontus Holmberg will be in his stead on the second line. And a boost to the Pittsburgh Penguins with Brian Rust coming in and playing alongside Sidney Crosby. The lines for the Maple Leafs as follows: Nyes, Matthews, Marner, McMahon, Holmberg, Nylander, Pacioretty, Domi, Robertson, Lorentz, Camp, and Ryan Reeves getting back in after the win over the New Jersey Devils. On the blue line, Riley Tanev, OEL, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Jake McCabe, Benoit, and Timmins. Timmins, of course, playing over Timothy Liljegren. But a big story for the Maple Leafs scored has been the performance of the blue line. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has surprised people, I think, with how well-rounded his game has been, how tough he's been, how smooth he's been, and Christopher Tanev maybe even come more than advertised.
So it's funny because two opposites, right? You got Tanev was never drafted and just got used to him playing a certain style, team-oriented, meat and potatoes, efficient, seemed to get better as his career went on, and that kind of value. I mean, OEL, Tampa Bay was debating between him and Victor Hedman at second overall way back when Brian Lawton was the general manager. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson, sometimes individuals aren't made to be the number 1D. And he was that in Phoenix. And he did an okay job there, but went to Vancouver with expectations that were not even close to being realized, and then found his way in a better team in Florida about a specific role. And that's how he comes to Toronto with a more defined role and less that you're the guy. So two different spices that they've added, and so far really good. And I liked them in the offseason as well about, it's just interesting. TJ Brody was the guy that was such a solid pickup and then had kind of an ordinary finish. Justin Hall had one great year and then a real ordinary finish, and now is super ordinary in Detroit. So I like the tension. They've never invested the big dollars on the blue line. I know Mark Hunter, when he was here, that's one thing he differed about that philosophy, rather than, felt that you should have some kingpins, kind of like Buffalo has in that. And so they went out, I thought, got two really good ones in the offseason.
I led with the defense because the offense has not necessarily been something to write home about thus far. In fact, number 34, number 16, and number 88, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, combined without a point so far to start the season through two games. Maybe they've been saving it for their own fans and the home opener. We'll see if those three can break the dam tonight. The Leafs are 1-1 to start the season. season, playing back-to-back earlier in the week. A shutout loss to the Canadiens despite 47 shots on Sam Montembeault. And then they beat Sheldon Keefe and the New Jersey Devils behind Dennis Hildeby. So Hildeby getting the first win for the Maple Leafs this season. Stolars, who was in the net tonight for the Maple Leafs, was very good in the opener. And the Penguins are also 1-1. So both these teams trying to improve to 2-1 on the season. They were throttled by the Rangers 6-0 in their opener. So some early season disappointment, but bounced back a night later, just like the Maple Leafs, beating the Red Wings 6-3. The winner goes to 2-1 tonight, and that would be a good start to the season for either of these teams.
Yeah, it would. It would. You know, it's funny. All of a sudden, a very different, because early season games get too much weight. They're almost like NFL games because you only had one plate or two plate, and you get that kind of hype, and then they keep coming at you. So you're right. One team's going to be really disappointed being 1 or 2, and the other's going to say, "Hey, 2-1. That's a pretty good start." We talk about the goaltending, and Stolars was the pickup, and he's what I expected, and played. Hildeby, I thought that was really important because you looked at Michael Hutchinson, for example, years ago, that couldn't get his legs going. As the number 3 goaltender here in Toronto, and then all of a sudden he had to be the number 1 for a bit, and just couldn't get off the schneid or whatever going. And we've seen others that have. So I was glad his first start, because it's a little quicker than they thought. I mean, they thought Joe Wall would be healthy, and you wouldn't be using a Hildeby early in the year. Last year they had a Martin Jones, who was a very different spice as a number 3 goaltender, and really came in for a stretch and had a solid stretch when Samsonov was struggling that kind of helped keep things going well during the regular season. So I thought on the goaltending side, Justin, that's been a real positive. And the Penguins are saying the same on their side, but 2 games in when your number 1 guy wasn't able to go.
The Pittsburgh Penguins are of particular interest to those in this market for a variety of reasons. I mean, Brian Burke used to run the team, and of course he's a household name here in Toronto, but now Kyle Dubas is in charge of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He got hired by the Penguins, less than a week after being let go by the Toronto Maple Leafs 2 summers ago. Dubas's work has been under fire, or at least under the microscope, since taking over the Penguins. They did not have a good year last year, missing the postseason. And a lot of people are focused on what he's doing because Sidney Crosby just gave him the sweetheart deal of all sweetheart deals to extend through year 22. But we all want to see Sidney Crosby do well, or at least be in a competitive state. We don't want the final seasons of Sidney Crosby to be wasted. And really, the guy in charge of the final seasons of Sidney Crosby is the guy who could not get the Leafs over the hump over the last couple years. Kyle Dubas has done interesting work so far with the Penguins. How would you grade it?
Well, although David Beeston, Paul Beeston's son, has left the Fenway Sports Group, but I think he was a big guy overseeing the Pittsburgh Penguin hockey team, and he liked Kyle Dubas. So the best thing is if your boss likes you, okay?
Yeah.
And
he's got a big fat deal, so he'll be okay.
And it's a strange animal in that coaches went by the wayside last year, but he's got a great setup there, but he can't move Mike Sullivan. And I'm not saying he'd want to move Mike Sullivan, but Mike Sullivan is about as entrenched as that. He inherited him, but he's as entrenched as any head coach there is out there. So I got to say the jury is out, Justin, because he took it over, and the understanding is they want another parade. They aren't doing a retool or rebuild. Their danger is they could get caught like the San Jose Sharks did when you're always there and you think you're going to be there, and then 2 years you're in the mushy middle, and you're actually less than the mushy middle, and you didn't do a retool properly, and you're stuck with bad contracts and all these things, which that could be the problematic thing. So it'll be an interesting year. They didn't make the playoffs last year. They were 8-2-2 in the final 12 games, and they believe that that 8-2-2 was a good sign of what they believe coming into this season. So they're a very curious mystery team, expecting to make the playoffs, and most people don't think they're going to be in the playoffs.
We are a couple minutes away from Austin Matthews being announced and unveiled as captain for the first time in front of the Scotiabank Arena faithful. It should be a cool moment on ice for number 34 at Scotiabank Arena tonight. The lineup for the Penguins is as follows. It's always interesting who's playing with Sidney Crosby. Tonight it'll be Anthony Beauvillier and Brian Rust. On the second line, Michael Bunting, another familiar face with Evgeny Malkin and Ricard Raquel. O'Connor, Eller, and Rutger McGrody getting in for the Penguins tonight. Kevin Hayes, Glass and Achari on the fourth line. The defense is as follows: Grizzly, Letang, Pettersson, Carlson, and Graves and St. Ivany. Of course, Blomqvist getting the start. Yoel Blomqvist getting the start. Back-to-back starts for Blomqvist after Jari struggled in the opener. I mentioned that Matthews, Marner, Nylander without a point through the first 2 games. We had an interesting chat with Luke Fox on the other side about how, Craig Berube wants everyone to play the same type of way. He wants all of his lines, honestly, to play a lot like a third or fourth line would, and that's why the third and fourth line for the Maple Leafs has been so good to start. In fact, they outscored the Devils 3-0 and had 10 shots to 0 against combined in that win. The fourth line, it's been seamless, the move from Keith to Berube. Hasn't been that way for the top 2. Is this just, it's going to take some time to start playing the way Berube wants them to play, or is there something else that you're seeing from the top 2 lines?
No, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. And again, that Craig Berube style, the great coaches have a certain system and style, but they also account for the players that can do exceptional things, because you don't want to take that away from them. So there is an understanding of that, and that is how they won the Stanley Cup in St. Louis, in that thing. So I'm not worried about it. If whatever the Berube style helps that Game 7, it's one of those 4 getting the overtime goal to be the difference maker rather than David Pastrnak, then that's another little positive about when I say subtleties, because it's not like a fist to the mouth by Craig Berube. That would be the wrong way to go about it. That's not the way at all. It's just an understanding about what they have and how can they get more out of them that works better for the team in the big picture.
Yeah, I think if I've learned anything from the first 2 games, is there might be some sacrifice offensively in order to make sure that this team is playing the right way. And again, we hear that. It's an old trope. It can kind of get a little tired, to be honest. But Austin Matthews is not going to be throwing caution to the wind in the final couple games of the season, trying to hit a round number and not playing the way it's supposed to be played in the postseason. This team is going to play the exact same way, or is supposed to. The assignment is to play the exact same way every single night, and I think it got a little loose at times with Sheldon Keefe. And again, I think Sheldon Keefe's a great coach. I think Sheldon Keefe is going to have a lot of success, but I think if we learned anything, it's that repetitiveness. Doing it over and over and over again is really the only thing Craig Berube wants, and I think for that reason these outlandish point totals may get reeled in a little bit, because we're not going to have 8-5 games happening every week. It's not going to be that way under Keefe, and I think it is okay in the grand scheme of things if you're winning playoff games, especially for a guy like Austin Matthews, who did get paid most recently. So let's get to the player to watch, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. A big spot here for Pontus Holmberg, who's going to play the second line center role in the stead of John Tavares, who's out tonight with an illness. He is anytime goal scorer, plus 550, and to score first tonight, first goal of the game, 25-1. Pontus Holmberg has an opportunity in some offensive situations. I'm betting he might cash on that. But beyond that, Gord, why is Pontus Holmberg the choice for Craig Berube tonight? It could be William Nylander. It could be Max Domi. Instead, it's a guy from the third line moving up to stabilize things on a scoring second line between Bobby McMahon and William Nylander. Your thoughts on Pontus Holmberg getting this early season promotion?
Well, first of all, man, the video coaches get no applause. And they did a really good job. They're introducing, nobody got any applause except Craig Berube. So that'll change when the players start coming up. Max Domi did such a great job filling in that role. That's why it's interesting. He did that in the playoffs, and that's why maybe it's a bit interesting they didn't put him in right now. But they're big on Pontus Holmberg right now, and again, it's about all the options. How would he respond? That playing in the top 2 lines to give him a little bit of exposure there. Brad Treliving brought his name up when he was talked about players in training camps, and because they made the thing, they've got it's like waiting to be called. You're on standby for a flight. They got not enough seats, and more people want the seats. And you want to get the call to the counter that you got a good sense. So he just got an aisle seat now. He got moved from a middle seat to an aisle seat, Pontus Holmberg, tonight to see how he seizes the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it might be the accountability thing we've been talking about, in the lead up to this season, right? Like, Pontus Holmberg's been one of the standouts through 2 games. He's been doing things the right way. He's been doing things the way Craig Berube wants. And if it's as simple as next man up, we'll pick the guy who's been doing the work that he's expected. We'll see if Pontus Holmberg can continue to do that. He's had spots over the last couple of years where he's moved up and down the lineups. He's a serviceable guy. Is he the long-term solution for the 2C in the absence of John Tavares when and if he moves to the wing? No, I don't expect that. But right now, best man up, accountability, I think it's an easy decision, at least for Craig Berube. It will be Anthony Stolarz in net tonight. There was some speculation he could go back-to-back play against the Devils. He's from New Jersey, so that would have been a special moment for him. But they did go to Hildeby. Hildeby got the win. Stolarz is aiming for his first victory as a Maple Leaf. He was really good in the opener. What do you expect from him tonight?
Really good. Well, I just expect like that kind of goaltending, solid goaltending that he gave the Florida Panthers in a quiet way last year. One of the statistically better goaltending stats that he had out there of any goaltender in the NHL. So I just kind of viewed it when they got him. We talked about Ilya Samsonov swimming and question marks about just goaltenders coming in. And unfortunately, Matt Murray, it was health as well. Like Matt Murray, when he's been healthy, he's actually played pretty well. So I just liked it as a solid 1B pickup that has had to be 1A a lot quicker than any of us would have hoped with Joe Woll's injury.
It's really nice when the big, the impressions, the first impressions are really strong. The first impression of Anthony Stolarz been really strong.
Absolutely.
First impression of Dennis Hildeby, third goaltender for this team, really strong. First impression of the 2 new blue liners for this team in Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Chris Tanev, really strong. When you can have all those things come together pretty quickly and you don't have the consternation over, okay, was that a bad signing? Was that not a thing that was going to work for this team? Those have been at least set to the side because the new guys, the important new guys for this team, have been really, really good to start.
Yeah, we're talking about the Big Four and when they're the Big Four and when they're going to get going, and hopefully it's tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs cases. But Nick Ritchie a few years ago, like certain players that never, David Clarkson way back when, players that never got going, right? And it's like when you start a new job, your first week, you want to be a good week, and it's not that much indifferent to playing on a new team in a new situation, a new scenario.
That roar you're hearing behind you is Austin Matthews being introduced as the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs for the first time at a home opener. As expected, the crowd was quite happy to see that unveiled. It's Saturday night. It's the home opener at Scotiabank Arena. There's a horn. It's a really, really fun night to be at Scotiabank Arena. The Penguins and the Maple Leafs on Hockey Night in Canada is next. Joe and Jim will have the call of that for you. We're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hold the entire show. Hold the show.
When the sports world is talking, nobody gives you more perspectives than the experts of Sirius XM.
The New York Jets have fired head coach Robert Saleh. Wow.
Hear instant reaction on Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This should have been done in the off-season.
And expert analysis on NFL Radio.
Aaron wants to do it Aaron's way. This reminds me of Favre and Mangini all over again.
Live sports talk when you need it on Sirius XM and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them. Because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Cheers, Leafs fans. Thank you for finding our unbelievable Toronto sports community where we hang out every single Maple Leafs game live. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new. Welcome to our awesome community. Make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto sports game, as well as a lot of other sports events as well, which has seen the growth of this channel just take off. But it all started right here with the Leafs. Now let's get back to the hockey. Let's have some fun in the chat, and let's beat the Penguins. Cheers, Insiders. Have a great night. We'll see you back in the chat.
Talk and, help them create offense off of that. So kind of found a little niche with that.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Flyers defenseman Travis Sanheim.
Is it a rebuild type thing? Is it definitely a playoff team in your mind?
I think last season, I don't know if anyone in our room was saying rebuild. We thought that we could surprise some teams, and I think we did that. A lot of guys that are coming back, and then obviously adding Meat Scott's going to be huge. So, we're looking forward to getting started and seeing if we can build off of last season.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, Rod Brindamore.
Kachekov making that jump last year. What do you see in the net?
The kid wants it. That's the first thing. Is he going to be the guy that we're looking at this year to get after it and take a bigger role? Maybe. But we still got Freddie in here. I think he's got something to prove. So I think we're going to have a good battle in the net.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs Radio Network.
Home opener for the Toronto Maple Leafs at Scotiabank Arena, and the hobos of the honeycombed hideouts brought to you this evening by Molson. Molson, everyone in. Anthony Stollers, who was outstanding in a loss in Montreal, has a 1.05 goals against average and a .963 save percentage. And Joel Blomqvist gets the start for the Pittsburgh Penguins, as he is 1-0 with a 3.01 goals against average in his one game and a .906 save percentage. Joe Bowen along with Jim Ralph. 43rd home opener for me. 27, I believe, for you, of course. You don't think you would have been here for other home openers.
Yeah, well, not as a player.
No. Well, as long as we're not here for the closing.
But you know what is ironic is the very first home opener you and I could have been at. We were actually there at the same time.
Yes.
Chicago Stadium in 1982.
Puck is dropped. We're underway. Glad you're along with us. Penguins send it down into the Toronto zone. Out of the net, Stollers to play it around on the boards. It goes back to the net for Crosby. He tried to center, stopped by Stollers. To the point, Carlson a drive. That went wide. Stollers has lost his goal stick. Now he's recovered it. And the Leafs have the puck in their own zone. Marner flipping it ahead for Morgan Riley. Riley comes to center. Just got it in over the line, not much further. And the Penguins go back into their own zone. A lead pass deflected into the zone by Brian Rust, who is back into the lineup for the Penguins. Ekman Larsson for Toronto, got it ahead. Pontus Holmberg tried to chip it in over the line, but it was offside. The big news, John Tavares not in the lineup tonight. He is down with the flu bug. And so Pontus Holmberg is centering the line of Bobby McMahon and William Nylander.
We already talked about this in the first couple of games, that Bobby McMahon's break came in February last year when Tavares and Mitch Marner were both scratched with an illness. last February, and Bobby McMahon had his first NHL hat trick later that night.
Lead pass goes astray. I think that should have been icing, but it wasn't. Played back to the point. Shot whistles wide of the Toronto cage. Kept in by Letang. Leafs break it out. Now a 2-on-1 developing. Brought in over the line now by Holmberg. Rolled in front of the goal, but it never reached McMahon. Cleared by Pittsburgh through center ice. Nylander leaves for McMahon, who shoots the puck down into the Penguin zone. Max Domi playing center here this evening. He's between, at this point, Robertson and Pacioretty. As we get a whistle here in the center ice area, and the referees tonight, Ghislain Hebert and Dan O'Rourke, Brian Kovacic, and David Brisebois are the linesmen.
Now, I do believe, it's always one of those great moments you have before a game that during the anthem you have a question that you haven't looked up the answer to yet. I don't believe the Leafs have ever opened a season at home against Pittsburgh. Is Armin confirming that? Yes. So this is...
Okay.
Remember the Leafs opening in Pittsburgh.
Yes, remember that.
Eddie Belfour's first game.
Yep, absolutely, and it turned out fairly well.
6-0.
Played down into the Toronto zone. Benoit takes his man up against the end boards. The puck comes back to the point. St. Ivany sent it wide of the goal. Breaking in on the left wing is Noel Acciari, the former Leaf. Comes around on the near side. Pacioretty can't get it by the pinching defenseman. It'll go around to the far side, and Timmins is late getting there. Knocks his man down. Puck is underneath him, but the puck comes free. Acciari back to the point in a drive, and Stoller's got a glove in the way of that. Pittsburgh has started quickly here. The Leafs have been hemmed in their own end. Domi just flipping it high to center, but it's quickly knocked down. Acciari sends it right back in with a shot. That was stopped by Stollers. Played it back to the point once more. Fed off on the wing then by Pettersson, and knocked away and cleared back of the net by Erik Karlsson. Centering pass off Stollers. And the Leafs are just being out-hustled here in their own end. And Robertson finally gets it out at center. But he's been down in his own end trying to get out. Not much gas left in the tank, so he just flips it in.
Yeah, there were some minute 30 shifts on that, so the Leafs are actually fortunate that Robertson was able to control it and dump it out of the zone.
Now the Penguins to the blue line, broken up there momentarily. The puck in the slot area, but not cleared. Finally controlled, and Jake McCabe circles back into his own zone. Then he gave the puck up. Centering effort, knocked away there by David Camp. Got it up on the wing for Reeves. Reeves with skating room, flips it in. Then had it hit the linesman, and that turns into a delayed offside that the Leafs can't take advantage of. They've not been in the offensive zone with possession, and we're approaching 4 minutes here in the first period. Malkin got it back. The Leafs break it out. Now here's Nyes starting away on the left wing. He flips it into the zone. Hustling in after it is Morgan Riley. Nyes tries to free it up, set a shot, a weak one to the side of the goal. Blomqvist, no trouble with that. First, I don't know if that's even going to be a shot. Well, yeah, they put it down as a shot.
Pittsburgh may want to challenge that for review.
Played back deep in the corner. They had those shots, your save percentage would have been a lot better.
Well, you're assuming I would have stopped that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Brought in by McGroarty.
Appreciate it, though.
It's a vote of confidence. Yep. Played into the corner. Pittsburgh gets it back to the point. St. Ivany works to the left wing side, and a shot that's blocked, and it's going to carry him out at center ice. So my first trivia question is, and I don't have the answer, when's the last time you can remember a forward wearing number 2? Here's a chance for McMahon, and he couldn't slide through the defense. Falling there was Ryan Graves. Leafs Nylander around back of the goal. Centered in front of the net. A shot by Pontus Holmberg. Good save there. Here's Nylander with it again. Works it to the far left wing boards. Still with it. Off on an angle. A shot, and it was high and wide. Rebound to the left wing side, and it is Ekman Larsson keeping it alive for Toronto. Onto the wing, it goes to Nylander, cutting in. Couldn't get a shot away. At the point of drive, that was blocked. And it goes wide of the net. Centering again. Nylander had it knocked off his stick. First good pressure from the Maple Leafs. Ekman-Larsson to the point. Fed off on the far side. Comes back again to McCabe. On the left wing for Ekman-Larsson. Back once more, and a shot by McCabe. Deflected wide. Leafs with it again. Nylander off on the wing. Back to the point to Jake McCabe. McCabe dropping it back. Here's Nylander with it again. Centering effort blocked. Poked off a stick. Maintained by Toronto. A shot. And down is Blomqvist to hang on.
Leafs finally get some offensive zone time. Only 2 get to the net. But we're unable to take advantage of a broken stick by the Penguins and really had the Leafs up 5-on-4.
So it is a 0-0 tie. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hockey is back. And the NHL on Sirius XM sounds like this.
Score! Connor McDavid off the rush, set up by Hyman.
And this.
The Panthers have won the Stanley Cup for the first time. Yeah!
Hear every NHL game all season long on Sirius XM and the hometown announcers on the Sirius XM app. And talk about the day-to-day drama of the hockey season on NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Well, we got important people listening to the broadcast helping out.
Yes, John Shannon. And the trivia question, Doug Moens, who did play some defense, but also played on a line with Sam McKeith and Chico Mackey.
Here's a pad save made by Blomqvist. Domi trying to keep the puck in. Now, one of the greatest of all time wore number 4 for Montreal.
Jean Béliveau.
Jean Béliveau. And one of the greatest in the history of the Maple Leafs wore number 4 playing center ice for Frank Mahovlich.
Red Kelly.
But he won Stanley Cups in Detroit as a hit there knocks the puck into the corner. Penguins with a shot that went wide of the net. And Red wore number 4 as a defenseman while in Detroit and winning Stanley Cups there. So it is a rarity, but it's not an impossibility.
But our thanks to John Shannon.
Yeah, what is he doing listening to us?
How the mighty have fallen.
Yeah. Maybe he's stuck in traffic.
Or an elevator.
We're big in elevators.
Yes.
We are. Washrooms and elevators in this building, we own. We own.
It's our target audience.
Yes, it. Cleared out at center ice. Penguins go back into their own zone. Grzelcyk gets it ahead. And trying to launch it in there and successfully is Beauvillier. It's played around the boards by McCabe. Marner couldn't get to it. The Leafs' first line has been hemmed in their own end predominantly in this period. Now it's broken out and Matthews breaks. Left wing side, a little toe drag move, but Crosby got a stick in the way of that. Good play by the veteran Crosby. Letang lost it, and centering pass just failed to connect with Nyes. Now a shot goes high over top of the goal. Matthews trying to chip it away. Gets after it against Crosby on the far side. Leafs come away with the loose puck. Nyes in the near corner. Nyes trying to work it back in front of the goal. Couldn't make it, and it's played up on the wing by Pittsburgh and sent down into the Leaf end. Quickly back. Marner will get it into the zone. Trying to send a pass into the left wing corner that just failed to connect with Pontus Holmberg. Now Bobby McMahon gets it freed up for the Leaf centerman. Here's Holmberg working back of the net, gets it back to the point to Riley. Right wing side, a long shot by Tanev was partially blocked, and it's brought by Raquel out at center ice. And on the right side comes Carlson. Back for Raquel, a shot, and that went high and wide of the Leaf goal. Another shot steered wide by Stollers. Centering pass coming back to the blue line. It'll just be kept in by Marcus Pettersson. Into the corner it goes. Raquel back of the net. Leaving for Malkin. Malkin chased there by Tanev. Grabbed off. Tanev is upended. Puck comes back to the point. Lots of traffic in front of the net. Carlson shot. Went off a leg and went wide. Leafs just getting rid of it and have sent it out and down the ice, and an icing call will come as a result. First period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca.
Pittsburgh Penguins, back-to-back seasons, not finding themselves in the postseason. And that was after a 16-year run. They actually had not missed the playoffs previously into the last two since Sidney Crosby's rookie year. And there was certainly some grumblings that Crosby was not happy that Jake Gensel was traded at the deadline, because the Penguins did go on a pretty good roll and almost found themselves sneaking into the playoffs.
Played in around back of the net. Lars Eller for the Penguins, back to the point, a shot in traffic, didn't make it through. Leafs are going to bank it to the line, but don't get it out. Centering pass, big save made by Stollers. He took it on the chest and then looked rather awkward. I thought for a moment that thing had snuck in behind him, but he in fact had it pinned up against his body.
It might have ended up under his catching hand, like where he ended up pitting it against the
body, I think.
His body with his elbow.
It did look a little awkward,
yeah,
didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that would not have been taught during one of the Howie Meeker video sessions. Remember that great show? Like he used to have this Saturday afternoons, all hockey drills
now,
and
do you know
goaltending
the people
tips.
that we're talking to have no idea who Howie Meeker. Well, maybe John Shannon remembers Howie Meeker. Played out off a stick. Nice play by Crosby to knock it down. And then when he got it over on the wing to Beauvillier, he couldn't make a play and is still in the Toronto zone. Beauvillier against the boards, now losing it there to Matthews. Up for Marner. Marner goes rink wide, and it is Ekman Larsson coming to center. Ekman Larsson weaves to the far side, took a shot. Easy save for Blomqvist there. Shots are 5-4, but there's no question, other than the one shift that the Leafs were down in the Pittsburgh end, Penguins have dominated the territorial advantage at this point. Back to the point, intercepted, racing down the right wing now is Cody Glass. Glass trying to cut in. What a great play! Baloney. Great play made by Simon Benoit to get back, and then the official decides that it's a trip.
Boy, and he's trying to explain it to Benoit, but Benoit gets the puck first. And then the follow-through takes out the Pittsburgh forward, but Leafs, understandably, not thrilled with this.
Well, I'm glad that a lot of the folks in the seats agreed with me. It is a 0-0 tie. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Check it out. You could get an electricity credit.
Really?
Yep. Now more Ontarians qualify for a monthly on-bill credit of $35 or more through the Ontario Electricity Support Program.
So I could qualify.
Uh-huh.
And me?
Sure could.
How about us?
You might. For eligibility details and to apply, visit oesp.ca or call 1-855-831-8151.
Over to our...
Hey, Insiders! Check out our Sick Kids campaign link. We've made it to $300 raised in this campaign for Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. Now, it's wrapping up. The Create 100K is wrapping up for this year. It will be back again next year, but we will have to shut this down here in a few days. Please check it out if you have not already. Click the link that is pinned in the top of the chat as well as in the description if it's not pinned there, because I'm pinning those, fun hockey chats in there. But thank you so much for your support throughout these campaigns here for Sick Kids Hospital. Is a place that is near and dear to my heart, and I know a lot of yours as well. So cheers to that, everybody. 300 so far. Let's see what else we can add. Have a great night in the chat, and let's go Leafs.
Got people kind of scratching their head a little bit, but anyway, Penguins bring it to center ice. In across the line, Carlson had it knocked away, pushed out at center, gloved by Chris Letang, and he'll bring it back. One of the few teams that will employ two defensemen on the points on the power play. Not bad having Carlson and Letang, is it? Here's Crosby. Off on the far side, back it goes to Malkin. Shot deflected wide of the Toronto goal. Kept alive and into the corner. Letang sends it back to the blue line. Crosby gives it back to him. Letang now circles to the left, gets into the slot, top of the circle, winding and shooting and scores. Penguins power play. Registering the opening goal of the game on a really tough call against Simon Benoit.
This is the one thing, Joe, that I think is a big concern, especially on the penalty kill. The Leafs give up so much time and space to the points. As Sidney Crosby drops it back, and Chris Letang, everybody just peels away from Letang and gives him 30 feet of free ice. And he takes it from the blue line and walks right in. It was Pontus Holmberg that left that area. And Letang gets the pass from Crosby right inside the blue line. He lets it go closer to the face-off dot. So that's how easy it was to walk in and hammer it.
First of the season for Letang. Domi back in his own zone with a lead pass. It goes off Robertson. Robertson forces it deeper into the corner. Ran his man in against the inboards, but the puck comes free. And Pettersson starts back up ice for Pittsburgh, but an errant pass, and the Leafs have it back in off Robertson into the zone. Pittsburgh regrouping, leading 1-0 as it's cleared up on the right wing and shot in by Lars Eller. Timmins got the puck freed up. It's launched high, but goes off his stick and out of play. And with 8:23 left to go here in the period, a face-off coming again in the Toronto zone.
Now, do you like those this date in history stats?
I like that, yeah.
All right.
What have you got?
In 2006, in this date NHL history, Chris Letang scored his first NHL goal.
Nice.
So same date, scored his last NHL goal.
Oh.
Also in 2016, this date in NHL history, Austin Matthews scores 4 goals in his NHL debut.
I remember that game.
Yes.
Penguins in the Toronto end. Riley taken out against the boards by Achari. That's drawn a crowd in against the wall. Camp is in there trying to pin it up against the boards with Cody Glass. All of this excitement brought to you. And finally, the puck comes free. Ekman Larsson trying to play it ahead, had it knocked away. Riley will have to try it again. Plays it around on the boards, cut off by St. Ivany, who gets it down into the corner. Riley up against the boards. Ekman Larsson can't reach it. Malkin does. Malkin works back towards the blue line, but has the pass intercepted, and now the Leafs break it out. Nylander tried to make a little move, but couldn't get around Ryan Graves. Graves gets the puck ahead. Pittsburgh works to the blue line with Malkin. Malkin missed a hit from Jake McCabe. Puck comes around on the near side for Benoit. He'll get it into neutral ice, but not much further. Nylander has to come back for it. Now makes a couple of elusive moves before sending it back to his defense. McCabe and Benoit with open ice to center will fire it in. Leafs are in the midst of a change. Matthews line on the board and on the ice and have not garnered a point yet. High stick making contact for Pittsburgh, and it'll be whistled down here with a high stick with 6:50 to play in period number 1.
There's some interesting numbers for you as well. Sidney Crosby, when assigned his first $8.7 million contract, keeping in touch with his wearing sweater number 87. So back in 2008-2009, when he signed the deal, it was worth 15.3% of the cap. Signed for another $8.7 million per year contract, 9.8% of the cap.
Ooh.
So
here the pass in front of the Leaf goal is intercepted, and Matthews is wheeling out at center. Matthews in on the right side to Marner. Rink-wide pass attempt for Nyes went off a skate. And the Penguins are just going to airmail it into neutral ice. Nicely settled down there by Beauvillier. Long shot is gloved by Anthony Stollers, who got a bit of a tap on the pad coming by Crosby. That goes without any discussion. And a face-off will come in the Toronto zone.
One of the concerning early trends in the first 7 periods of this season. Leafs have had 6 power plays, and they've now been shorthanded 11 times. If that number doesn't change over the course of the season, it's going to be a long one.
Bouncing puck goes down into the area back of the Leaf goal. Domi is able to work it up on the wing. He eludes a hit. Brought in over the line. Domi stops up, drops it back for Benoit. Benoit couldn't return the favor, and it's down into the Toronto end. Hustling back after it now is Connor Timmins. Played it around the boards to the near corner, but no one there for Toronto. Back to the point to Letang. Over to his defense partner. A long shot went wide of the net. Grabbed off again by Eller. Shooting, and it was just deflected wide. Robertson is able to backhand it out into neutral ice. Leafs are changing again. Shots on goal are 6 apiece, but there is no question the Penguins have been the more aggressive and the more successful in the offensive end. Reeves, a bank pass ahead. Following up on the play to get it in was David Camp. Into the corner it goes for Reeves. Reeves works out of the corner to get it back to the point. Ekman Larsson, a shot in traffic. That was stopped. The rebound cleared back to the far point. Kept alive by Jake McCabe. Off of Ekman Larsson, but no one there to take the redirect. Penguins bring it back at center ice. Kevin Hayes into the slot area. Long shot. Blocked in front. Puck is still loose and is played around the boards. It'll come to the line but not cleared. Penguins with it again in the corner. Dugout now by the Pittsburgh forward, and Bunting sends it down into the corner, the former Leaf. And now grabbed off on the left wing, and Steven Lorentz sends it down into Pittsburgh territory. Lorentz getting a goal the other night, and then of course social media took over thanks to his sister, who found a nice photo of him in high school with a nice little caption saying, "What will you be doing in 15 years' time? I'm going to be playing for the Toronto Maple Leafs." And bang on, if he isn't absolutely accurate. Bunting, pass to the left wing side, a deflection in near side, and Malkin couldn't knock it out of the air. At the point, fed off on the left wing again. A centering pass, and that went wide of the net with Malkin all over the goaltender. The puck into the near corner for Rust. Round back of the net. Leafs still can't get it out. Here's Malkin centering, and the shot went whistling over top of the Leaf goal. I don't think Coach Craig Berube's going to be very pleased with the zone time that has been demonstrated here in the first period. Letang with a shot. Pad save and a good one by Stollers. Lifted high to center. Nylander couldn't knock it down and heads to the bench.
This crowd has gone very quiet, haven't they?
Hard to notice. And along the board's far side. Into the corner, chipped up on the wing. Rust gets it back to the point. Letang's shot is blocked. Matthews will play it ahead, and Marner's away. Marner on the right wing. Nyes just did stay onside. Marner now wings it around back of the net. Letang cut it off and sends it back. Marner gets there first. Now in a battle for the puck, it's kicked by Crosby, and that's good enough to get it out. Nyes brings it right back in again to Matthews. Closing! Oh, and a good save made there by Blomqvist. His best save of the period and the best scoring chance the Leafs have engineered. Here's Ekman-Larsson. Pass for Domi, bounced over his stick. And the unfortunate part of that is that it's icing. I don't know if that's a word or not.
Armin?
What is he, the thesaurus?
A what?
It is now, as Danny Gallivan once said. Spinorama is not a word, Mr. Gallivan.
It is.
Well,
now.
It is now.
And to hear, I mean, we've both been years ago, a number of dinners with Danny Gallivan recanting that story and how it started. A longtime voice of the Montreal Canadiens.
Shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. In along the near boards, Pacioretty, who has his first in a Leaf uniform, as Timmins gets it ahead, and the Leafs get it out at center, and now Pacioretty will shoot it down into Pittsburgh territory. Domi works down the wall and gets it around back of the net, but can't do much more with it there. Kept alive by Jake McCabe, though. Domi back of the net, looking for a centering pass. That went off Crosby's skate, and the Penguins get it out at center ice. Shot back in by Simon Benoit. And the Penguins have now shot it down the ice, but the icing's waved off because they're saying that McCabe was in position to play it, and now he loses it to Bunting. Back of the net, back to the point, a shot. That was blocked by Reeves. Rust can't get to it. And Reeves will get it out into the center ice area. Back of the goal. Centered in front of the net. Oh, what a chance Camp had. Goaltender Blomqvist was looking behind the net, never saw the puck come out in front, and unfortunately David Camp shot it right back into him. Reeves makes a great play to get it out in front, and Camp hits him right in the crest.
Yeah, that right in the Penguins' head on the goaltender, and he had all kinds of room on the far side.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Now through November 1st, SiriusXM is giving away a pair of tickets to every MLB postseason game through the World Series. Listen to MLB Network Radio for the clues and be the first caller to correctly name the postseason hero, and you'll receive a pair of tickets to an MLB postseason game. MLB Network Radio has your chance to win on SiriusXM 89 and the all-new SiriusXM app. No transportation will be included in connection with these prizes. For full contest information and official rules, visit SiriusXM.com/MLB postseason hero. No purchase necessary. Open only to current SiriusXM subscribers prior to September 22nd. Must be a U.S. resident over the age of 18.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Radio Network.
So the Leafs give up their third power play goal against. And the opening tally comes from Chris Letang, Crosby, and Malkin drawing assists on the goal, and Sidney Crosby is now within 1 point of 1,600 for his career.
I believe would be the fifth quickest to do so.
Last minute of play in the first period.
Leafs playing it off the glass to center. Marner got it down into the corner, played around back of the net, trying to steal it from Grzelcyk, but it is cleared to center ice. Leafs knocking it back. Penguins dump it back to the blue line, cut off there. Marner sending it back to Ekman-Larsson, and now here are the Leafs starting out of their own zone. McCabe rifling it in off the glass and around the boards to the near corner. Letang sends it back. Grzelcyk gets it up on the wing. Leafs get it back, but can't keep it in. And they'll try to regroup it and flip it back in, courtesy of Jake McCabe with 20 seconds left in the period. And if they're going to escape a 1-0 deficit, they should count their lucky stars. Now here's Nylander with 8 seconds. Dropping it back for Domi. Domi to the left wing side, and Bobby McMahon drilled it into the crest of Joel Blomqvist, who stops play with a face-off. And for McMahon, he had to realize time was running out. It was more just get it on the net.
Yeah, and he does. But again, right into the crest. And this time the goaltender, Joe, is pretty deep. Right on the goal line, and McMahon thinking more of quickness rather than accuracy. Got it away quick, but boy, there seemed to be a lot of room up top there. His goaltender skates are right on the goal line when McMahon lets this go from the left wing circle.
Draw one by Toronto, but no time for a shot. And the period ends with Pittsburgh being outshot in the period 11-7. But here's talk about a strange statistic.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the old Jerry Cheevers line where he says, stats never lie, but they can sometimes stretch the truth.
Yes, and what's the other line?
Figures can
lie. Figures don't lie, but liars can figure.
Go figure.
I will. I have time to figure during the intermission because Gord Stellick and Justin Cuthbert are coming along with our first period intermission. 1-0 Pittsburgh. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Take your love of 80s music to the max.
For sure. Like totally.
With new wave and 80s alternative on First Wave, Channel 33. Feel the noise of spandex, big hair, and big riffs on Hair Nation Channel 39.
Come on, feel the noise.
Or bounce to hip-hop classics on LL Cool J's
Rock the Bells Radio.
Channel 43. Listen to all of these and more across SiriusXM and on the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Michael Bunting of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You've always had the great ability to play with great players.
I think my style of play complements the top dogs, as you will, like kind of go to those harder areas in the corner in front of the net and kind of create space for them and get them the puck and, help them create offense off of that. So kind of found a little niche with that.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Flyers defenseman Travis Sanheim.
Is it a rebuild type thing? Is it definitely a playoff team in your mind?
I think last season, I don't know if anyone in our room was saying rebuild. We thought that we could surprise some teams, and I think we did that. A lot of guys that are coming back, and then obviously adding neat stuff is going to be huge. So, we're looking forward to getting started and seeing if we can build off of last season.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, Rod Brindamore.
Could check off making that jump last year. What do you see in the net?
The kid wants it. That's the first thing. Is he going to be the guy that we're looking at this year to get after it and take a bigger role? Maybe. But we still got Freddie in here. I think he's got something to prove. So I think we're going to have a good battle in the net.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Toronto Maple Leafs trailed the Pittsburgh Penguins 1-0 after one in their home opener at Scotiabank Arena. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick with you. Now, the Maple Leafs probably don't have all that much in terms of grounds for complaints, but the goal by Chris Letang from the Penguins did come at a pretty questionable penalty call, at least in my mind. Simone Benoit looked like he made a nice recovery play, closed the distance, and was called for a trip when I thought he made a play on the puck before he tripped up the forward.
Yeah, Dan O'Rourke, one of the experienced officials, and then he did explain whatever his philosophy was to Benoit in the press box. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was. I thought that he made a great play coming back. And anyway, point was you're going to get good calls, you're going to get questionable calls, and that's part of the game. So I agree with you on that. But funny one, we talked about the opening ceremonies and then the in-house entertainment, get everyone to stand and wave the towel and go. And it's like the Pittsburgh Penguins did. The Pittsburgh Penguins owned the first 5 minutes of this game by a country mile. So the Leafs, even though it was a questionable penalty, led to the only goal of the period. And even though they've outshot Pittsburgh 10-7, like Joe and Jim were saying at the end of the first period, Leafs are lucky they're only down 1-0.
Yeah, I would agree with you. The first 5 minutes definitely belonged to the Penguins. The play was almost exclusively in the Leafs zone for the first 5, 6, maybe 7 shifts of the game. And yeah, I could bellyache a little bit about the penalty call, but you can't really complain about the breakdown for the Maple Leafs in the defensive zone on the penalty kill. I highlighted Pontus Holmberg coming into the game because, yeah, he's stepping into John Tavares' shoes tonight, playing in the second line. But in addition to that role at even strength, he's also first over the boards on the penalty kill. And 54 seconds into the kill with Stephen Lawrence, there was a little breakdown there. It looked like Pontus Holmberg got lost, allowed Letang to walk in and just wire one over the shoulder of Anthony Stolarz.
Well, I'll tell you, because you had Pontus Holmberg as the player to watch, and with good reason, because he's got elevated to the second line with John Tavares being out of the lineup due to illness. But I looked at the trifecta. he had a 2-on-1 that he never got going. He had the puck on a 2-on-1, the first offensive odd man rush for the Leafs, and didn't make even a half decent play there. He had another one where glorious scoring chance, didn't put it. I mean, that happens as well. And that one, man, oh man, on the PK, he just left his zone. I don't know what happened there. So he left. Letang got to move in closer and wired it in. But that was one where you want to be hard on the point. You want to be aggressive on the point. I don't know if there's a PK system being implemented that he's really trying to be close to the vest and felt he needed to be somewhere else. But you got to go by instinct and common sense as well. And that was even though you're down one player, that was a glaring mess up in the defensive zone. So not the best period for Pontus Holmberg, a guy that has impressed Leafs management and coaching in the exhibition season and a training camp.
Yeah, it looked like he lost just the positioning. Maybe he was trying to go for a rotation with Lawrence and lost where his guy was, even more so than he did lose Letang. We talked a lot in the pregame show about, the adjustment that the Stars are going to have to make in order to score as much or even close to as much under Craig Berube. There were some moments, I suppose. Matthews had a pretty decent look in the period, but for the most part, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, toothless in that first period again.
Yeah, and again, we go back to Game 1 against Montreal. I know there was almost 50 shots on goal, but there were not a ton of scoring chances. And again, we're not seeing that happen. We're not seeing Austin Matthews getting those grade A shots at a certain point. Nylander maybe was the one more visible because he's got that ability to skate around. He had a good shift. Of course, he's on a different line when he was able to control the puck and that. But, that your toothless is a great word for that. And here's Sidney Crosby, albeit on the power play, but he was more noticeable in general on the Pittsburgh Penguins side. And these guys got about at least 10 years age-wise on Sidney Crosby. So I'm not in the concerned category yet, but it is 7 periods and counting that we're waiting for the waiting for that first, like we see many in regular season games over the years, outpouring by those guys. The bountiful goals, whatever. Right now, they're not happening, but a little bit concerning is the chances aren't even happening.
Yeah, not too many chances. There was one decent one from Matthews. He's had a couple looks in the last 2 games. Hasn't been able to find a corner or a path through the goaltenders. It's funny. You're in the rink and you're in the barn and you have our position in the press box. You look at things just a little bit differently. Things stand out a little bit differently. And I'm looking at that second pairing between Jake McCabe and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure they were part of being hemmed in for long stretches by the Penguins in this period. But the overwhelming sort of takeaway from seeing him from this vantage point looks like a professional pairing to me.
Oh, it does. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that like, again, you want to go on the positives and that. And we mentioned it's the new kids at school are fitting in. It's like you don't have to phone home to the parents and say, we're going to try to work this, work that. They seem to be fitting in quite well so far. So that was an encouraging part in a period where there wasn't a ton of encouraging things to talk about in this first intermission on the Toronto Maple Leafs side.
The highlight might have been Max Domi almost breaking Rutger McGroarty's ankles. I have trouble with McGroarty. I got to get that one down with a nice move breaking out of the zone.
It's the Rutger as well. It's hard
the second R, the third R, I guess it is, if you want to keep or count the initial one with Rutger. Let's take a break. We'll be back on Molson Leaf Hockey next. You're listening to Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Get the official NHL app to watch, read, and listen to all the deets.
All I can say is absolutely wow.
All the sauce. All the saves.
Stop from Vasilevsky.
All the hits. All the snipes. All the sellies.
He scores! Unbelievable!
All the hockey. If it's hockey, it's here. Listen to every NHL game for free, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Download the official NHL app now.
We have a plan that's connecting Ontario. We're leading the largest transit expansion in North America. New projects like the Ontario Line subway and Hazel McCallion Light Rail will relieve overcrowding, with the Scarborough and Young North subways connecting more communities, and expanding GO Transit with more trips, faster train service, and two-way all-day service. All so you can get around faster, safer, easier. See what we're building in your community at ontario.ca/builds. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Let's hit it, team. Chicago Wednesday on City TV. I'm police. I'm doing my job. All new episodes. There's going to be changes around the firehouse. Chicago Med.
We need to rethink how this ED operates.
Fire.
There's something about the new chief. It's a little off.
And PD.
He almost died in that basement.
But I didn't die. I'm still here. Chicago Med, Fire and PD. All new Wednesdays, 8/7 Central on City TV. Or stream it on City TV Plus.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back into Molson Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Maple Leafs trail the Pittsburgh Penguins 1-0 after 1. Let's quickly look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 18 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. The Boston Bruins earlier today got a 2-1 victory in overtime over the LA Kings. David Pastrnak with the goal. It's 2-1 Devils right now over the Capitals, end of 1. 2-0 the Canadiens lead the Senators at the end of 1. 3-1 Sabres leading the Panthers. Panthers haven't looked so hot after looking really good on their banner-raising night. Utah 1-1 right now with the Rangers, and the Red Wings hold a 1-0 lead over the Predators. Still to come tonight on a busy night in the NHL. Wild and Kraken, Islanders and Stars, Blue Jackets and Avalanche, the Connor Bowl, Blackhawks and Oilers, Sharks, Ducks, and the Flyers and Flames. We got about a minute left here, Gord. If there was a standout performance in the first period for the Toronto Maple Leafs, who owns that for you?
Oh, boy. Well, Oliver Ekman-Larsson had 4 shots on goal. So maybe I'll do that. I won't call it standout, but the stats stood out that they had 11 shots. They've cut it back to 10, so I don't know which person got their shot taken away from them because they add up to 11. But
they always do that on us.
Yeah, I know.
Always do.
I know. So I would look at that. Meanwhile, you know, I like nobody. That's part of the problem. It's like they got us the Mike Babcock line. They got to start on time in the second period. They did get going the first. I did like the Domi play. There's certain little plays that did stand out in there, but they got to play better. They're capable of playing better. This is your home opener, and they didn't come out with the bite and jam that the excitement like our Leaf game pregame had. Yeah. That we were pumped to jam. They got to get some of that.
Listen, Gord, it was a trick question. There was not really a standout performance for the Maple Leafs, at least at an individual level in that period. There's probably going to have to be a little bit of juice, a little bit more if they're going to break through on the Penguins team that looks like they're ready to go tonight. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph will have the call of the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
When it happens in the NFL,
Robert Saleh has been fired as head coach of the Jets.
We're reacting to it on Sirius XM NFL Radio.
What? Wow.
Talking about the biggest stories all day.
Chicago, as of now, is in the race. I like where they are, but look at that division.
From the field to the front office, nobody covers the game.
Jonathan Gannon has got to feel really good about where the trajectory of this Arizona Cardinals team is headed.
Like Sirius XM NFL Radio, Channel 88.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
Join me, Ward Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Leafs Radio Network.
2 mice and a wheel. Neither of them could work at the same time. It's okay, we're ready to go here in the second period.
Are we ever?
Yeah, we are. Leafs to the left and the Penguins to the right. It was not a very good opening period for the Leafs, despite the fact they outshot Pittsburgh. It even got better, 10-6. As the puck is dropped, we're underway. It's cleared back in. So they've taken a shot away from each team after what it was on the board at the end of the period.
It was probably that shot we talked about.
Yes.
Right? Thought it was a bit of a gift.
And on the left wing, Nyes gets it back. Matthews centering pass, but unable to reach it was Marner. And it's back out into the center ice area. Al Marner lifting it in. That hit Matthews. And the Leafs' big line really just seems to be out of sync at this point. They have not been able to generate the kind of offense that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, well,
Grzelcyk loses it. Now Domi's got a breakaway. 2 of them in a goalie score! William Nylander gets an absolute beautiful gift-wrap pass from Max Domi on a horrible turnover at the Pittsburgh blue line.
Penguins were all headed the wrong way when the puck bounces off the right wing boards and Max Domi picks it up. It's a 2-on-0 from the blue line in. And Domi, Joe, makes a great little play where you think he might try to beat goaltender Boquist on his own, does a little stutter step, goes to the backhand, and then throws it over to Nylander, who one-times it from his off wing into the empty cage to tie this game at 1.
And Willie Nylander has his first point of the season and his first goal.
Second assist for Max Domi.
Just about to say that. I looked it up.
I just knew. I knew.
Oh, you knew it?
Yeah.
Well, it is her.
Except
wait till game 35 and see how.
Except the NHL notes that we got, like it happened again today, include preseason on it.
Who is in charge of that?
I don't know. I mean, like now, like 40 years later, preseason's important. It didn't seem.
In fairness, it was important then too. You just didn't realize it at the point.
I was there. And there's no record of it.
No. Puck in the Toronto zone. Flipped around the boards by Graves. Graves. Is there any recollection of it now? Is there any recorded information on it? Or has it been eradicated for the betterment of the game. Puck in the center ice area, cleared into the Toronto's, or in the I'll get the right team here. Pittsburgh zone, and it's icing.
Well, I do have one thing at home now. I'd have to find something to play it on. It's a VHS tape. My first ever preseason game was in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And
is that with the wrong gloves?
This was a different time. For whatever reason, it was televised.
Really?
And it was Dale Talon's audition tape to do color with Pat Foley.
Oh, that would be fun to find.
Oh, I got it.
You got it. So what we need is a VHS machine?
Yes.
So, folks, at the point, long shot by Letang, kicked away there by Stollers. Now on the right wing side, a shot off the goal post. Crosby driving the net. Was taken down by Pontus Holmberg and deflected the puck, but it went off the post. And the Penguins are all over the Leafs here again in their own end. Leafs finally get it out and down the ice, but it's going to be an icing call. No. Apparently touched by Blomqvist and waved off by the linesman. Matthews trying to chip it ahead. Cut off there and brought in by Rust. Taken to the boards on the far side. The Leafs have it again. Tanev, a pass ahead for Marner. Marner's going to ring the boards with it. Nyes chasing after it. Big hit to get the puck freed up for Toronto. Shot goes wide of the goal. It comes in front of the net. They score! Matthew Nyes gives the Leafs the lead. First, a big hit on the boards and a follow-up to the net.
Simple play. Morgan Riley gets the puck at the left point. Throws it towards the net. Looking for a deflection. The puck goes wide. Blocker side on the goaltender Boqvist. It comes back out. Mitch Marner may not get a point on this, Joe, but he lifts the stick of the Pittsburgh defenseman. And it comes right back out in front onto the tape of Matthew Nyes. And after Crosby hits the post at one end, the Leafs get their first goal of the season from the big line to take a 2-1 lead.
Matthew Nyes gets his first of the season.
But it was Mitch Marner, Joe, made the great play of tying up the stick of Peterson.
Shot down into the Toronto end. Camp plays it along the boards. Malkin fanned on a pass, and the Leafs get a clearing opportunity and sent it to center ice. Sent back down into the Toronto end, and an icing charge is denied. Oh. Wow. I guess they're saying Ekman Larsson took the wrong angle to the puck, but so now here's Pittsburgh with the puck back to the point. Graves trying to send it in, blocked there by Reeves. In along the boards, Camp can't get to it. Back to the point once more. McGroarty with a shot, that's blocked. Reeves has some skating room and is now going to get it knocked all the way down the ice, but it'll be right on goal. St. Ivany getting it ahead, but it's cut off by Nylander. And Marner does get an assist on the goal. So that is poetic justice. And Riley the other. Penguins back in and the Leafs with a 2-1 lead. Played into the far boards. Bobby McMahon had it knocked away. Benoit played it up on the wing. Domi with a chance to clear, trying to outmuscle his man. Got it again. Great effort there by Domi, and he gets it ahead, and now it's brought in on the right side by Nylander. Back to Domi, left wing side. Pass in, looking for Bobby McMahon, who's ridden into the net and is getting a couple of push and shoves from Letang.
Boy, I hope McMahon isn't getting the penalty for goalie interference. I think he might be. I think the call could be on McMahon. He got bumped at the top of the crease by Letang and went into the goaltender, and I think McMahon is the one that's going to go. Boy, this is a tough one to take. Obviously, there's no intent. Going to the net, looking for the pass from Domi. Does not try to avoid. You still could have given the courtesy roughing penalty to Letang. But McMahon, in fairness to the officials, does not really make a huge effort to to get out of the way, but he's going to the net looking for a tap in. And if Joe gets a piece of this and puts it in, it's a good goal, and there's no goalie interference because the contact would have been made after the puck had gone into the net.
Shot out and down the ice by Matthews. Second power play of the game for Pittsburgh. They scored their goal in the first period with the man advantage. Penguins sift through center ice. Letang on the far side. Raquel played it into the slot area for Crosby. Crosby to the near corner. Comes back to the point. Malkin had it checked, and a good play by Matthews to outmuscle him to get it out in center. Leafs trying to get a change of players going. Malkin brings it right back. Nifty move to get her on the blue line and into the slot area. Trying to get a shot away is Erik Karlsson. Played to Crosby on the right wing. In back of the net for Malkin. Be a shot. Big pad saved by Stollers. Kept alive by Karlsson. Near half boards. Works it into the corner. Centering pass back to the point to Letang. Holds. Now to Karlsson. Whipped it wide. Where's the rebound? Side of the goal. Scramble in front. And a quick whistle, which will benefit the Maple Leafs here as Rust was down on all fours in the goal crease.
Now you mentioned the rarity that the Penguins have, which is using two defensemen on the number one power play, Letang and Karlsson. As Karlsson sneaks down into the left wing circle and just rips a one-timer. A lot of people, by the way, might argue whether they're actually defensemen or not. Because Karlsson 2 years ago, his last year with San Jose, wins the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman in the league.
And he was
with 101 points, and he was minus 26, which led to a few more debates about what the award should be about.
Should there not be a Bobby Orr award?
Yeah, and that is
right?
even if it's not highest scoring, you could say best offensive defenseman.
Yeah, offensive defenseman, exactly. And then give the guys that are doing the spade work,
the slugs.
Yeah, the sluggos. And speaking of one, here's Jake McCabe getting it out and down the ice. And down into the Pittsburgh zone it goes. 15 seconds left in the power play. Eller starts back for Pittsburgh. Up on the right side it goes. Trying to get around the defenseman there was Raquel. It was broken up. The Leafs have iced the puck. And they'll kill off the penalty to Bobby McMahon, who steps back onto the ice. And on the wing, and a shot goes off Riley's stick and will carry him up into the screen out of play.
You know what's scary? We said this trend has got to stop. But early on in the Leafs season, they've had 6 power plays for, 12 against. That's going to be a long season, wouldn't it?
Season if it's going to keep up at that rate. No kidding. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Visit connexontario.ca.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Heard of Uline? You know.
Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with us with this awesome community of Toronto sports fans here on TSI tonight for the Leafs game. Please share this link out to your friends, put it on the social boards, put it out on social media. However, let's get more people here in the chat hanging out with us, and the best way to do that is for you to share this link. I can only do so much on my end. We'll get back to it. Now let's go get our friends and have some fun in the chat. We'll see you guys back in there. Cheers, everybody.
.590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
One of the mainstays that we see around this building for many, many years is Stu McFarland, who is usually down in the penalty box area, equipped with a piece of absolutely useless equipment. It's the stick measuring device that makes sure that the stick. No one has had a stick measuring thing done
since Marty McSorley.
I do believe. But Stewie is in hospital. We want to wish him the absolute best. Get back here, and we need you taking up your spot there in the penalty box. As Nyes gets it around back of the net. Matthews couldn't corral it. Beauvillier will get it up on the wing, and a pass for Crosby was behind him, but he's able to play it in over the line. Marner couldn't track it down. Comes around for Crosby and back to the point. Fed back in along the boards by Peterson. It comes to the side of the net. Here are the Penguins. Marner trying to get his man. It's Crosby, and Crosby then has to go off a skate. Riley chipping it ahead. Marner trying to backhand it out, but it's knocked down and kept in. Shot blocked by Matthews. That is nothing new. He is the leader as far as forwards are concerned with blocked shots. Brought to center ice by Malkin. Malkin will send it back into the Toronto end. Stollers plays it around the boards. Took a bit of a shot there. He kind of stumbled as he got back into the net. Looked a little awkward. Seems to be all right. Played down in on goal in the Pittsburgh end. Round the boards, it'll come to the near side, and out at center ice it comes. Shot off the wall then by Ekman Larsson. Can't get it in deep. Bunting has got it ahead, and Raquel for Pittsburgh sends it back into the Toronto zone. Stollers was out of the cage, then took a shot from a sharp angle and is able to cover it up. Marner got an assist on the goal from Nyes, but it wasn't a primary assist. He's had 285 primary assists since 2016-17. McDavid, Draisaitl, and McKinnon are the only players ahead of him in that category. That's pretty heady company.
Yes, it is. And even, I mean, technically, he had the first assist on the Nyes goal because he had to go past him by tying up the Pittsburgh defenseman, Pettersson.
Played to center ice by McMahon. Can't get it into the zone. Pontus Holmberg goes rink wide, sent it to himself, then couldn't get it into the offensive zone, but now a bouncing shot sent in by McMahon. Pacioretty unable to reach it. Down the boards, Timmins playing it around back of the net. McMahon got taken down, and it is launched high to center ice. Gloved there by Benoit, but the Penguins get it in over the line. Then a shot is blocked by Timmins. Puck into the far corner for Benoit, and he quickly gets it ahead. Pacioretty to Timmins on the right wing, and he'll shoot it into the Pittsburgh zone. Penguins and Leafs trying to get a change going. And off the bench is Cody Glass, and Glass will send it into the Toronto end. Quickly played right back out again by the Leafs. Gathered up now and brought in by David Camp. Camp goes around back of the net, had it knocked off his stick, played to the line, and Pittsburgh will break it up. Graves to the line and in on the left wing. Stutter step there, trying to work back of the net was Glass. Had it knocked away by Tanev. Good play by Riley to secure the puck, and Riley is able to just get it out in center, and Camp now runs into a traffic jam right at the bench area, and the Leafs are going to flip it over some heads to try and get it into Pittsburgh territory, and they do. Good hit by Reeves. That draws some reaction from the folks in the seats, and the puck comes free, and it is just going to slide out into neutral ice. Pittsburgh going back to recover. A pass up the middle, deflects down towards Stollers. He thinks about playing it ahead, then goes into the corner with it. The Leafs get it out, and out at center now Nyes. Cross the line. Nyes backhanding it around the boards. Matthews lifted the stick there to get it back. Now he gets it into the near corner, but it slid away from him. And a hit there by Matthews knocked his man down, and the Penguins will be called for icing as it'll come back into Pittsburgh territory with 9:46 to play in the second period, and goals from Nylander and Nyes have lifted the Leafs into a 2-1 lead.
I'll tell you something, Oliver Ekman Larsson, I've been so impressed with. Watching him down the stretch in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year with Florida. It looked like by the time he went to Vancouver, it was a struggle for him, and you start to think this guy might be out of the league in a couple of years. But watching him on a nightly basis, I would say physically looks great, but just those wily little plays by veteran defensemen that you see he has been making, and that's usually getting the puck out of the zone.
Brought to center ice by Domi, left wing side, into the slot area, Nylander! Off the shoulder of Blomqvist. And the Penguins get rid of it in a hurry to send it down the ice. Icing call. Willie's got some jump.
Yeah, he does. I thought Nylander in the very first period in Montreal seemed to have more jump than most of his mates. By the way, for Matthew Knies now, that's his 4th career goal against the Pittsburgh Penguins in 4 career games. I think the other team he's got good numbers against is Tampa. Armin.
There's a shot in on goal, stopped by You know what? You have developed a crutch, right? You have the crutch. He's right over here. Anything that you can't come up with, we put it right on his plate.
Yeah, we don't do Hey Google. We don't.
No.
Hey Armin. Hey Armin.
Is that like Hey Siri?
Yeah.
Hey Armin.
Hey Armin.
Get on this, will you?
He's a little slower than Siri.
Jesus,
but he gets there.
Yeah, every once in a while. All right, 2-1 in favor of the Penguins. We're back. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Get in the flow with the channel of unforgettable R&B from back when Beyonce went solo. Through Drake's unstoppable rise.
That's why I need a one dance.
To when SZA dropped Control.
I just keep him satisfied through the weekend.
Feel the energy and emotion of 2000s and 2010s R&B in The Flow. Channel 48 and on the SiriusXM app.
Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Michael Bunting of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You've always had the great ability to play with great players.
I think my style of play complements the top dogs, as you will, like kind of go to those harder areas in the corner in front of the net and kind of create space for them and get them the puck and, help them create offense off of that. So kind of found a little niche with that.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Steller.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate. Weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Well, Twitter is upset with us.
Oh, no.
Some people said, we remember Dolly G. Willikers, Howie Meeker. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? One of the great iconic voices and broadcasters, and I'll tell you, pretty darn good hockey player in his day back in the 50s.
A 5-goal game
I also
for the Leafs.
remember.
Didn't he score 5 as a rookie in one game for the Leafs?
Yeah, he was Stanley Cup champion. Here the Penguins stealing the puck, dropping for Malkin, and a big play made by Benoit, and then it's fed off on the wing by Letang instead of shooting. Here's a shot taken then by Malkin that was deflected wide. Centering pass comes back to the point. Grzelcyk on the far side gets it back again. Grzelcyk onto the right wing side. Letang for Malkin. Back to Letang. Closing. Goes down around back of the net. He steers it off now for Rakal. That was deflected and back of the net. The Leafs are slow to react. Kept alive now by Domi. Domi up against the boards. Got it freed up, and Nylander with some skating room. He's taking his time as he comes to center. Now just backhands in and will go to the bench. 7:50 to play in the second period. Toronto 2, Pittsburgh 1. Icing waved off because Riley lifted the stick of its intended receiver in the neutral zone. Brought out now by David Camp. Camp with Reeves. Reeves takes the pass, got it down into the corner. Camp arrives on the scene, so does Reeves to try to play it back to the point. But it was cut off there by Rutger McGroarty and played down into the Toronto end. Don't know an awful lot of people named Rutger. Actually, just one.
University?
I just met him. No, at the university. No, that's Rutgers. Rutgers. But not Rutger. Maybe his dad went to Rutgers and liked it so much that Junior is named after him. Puck in the zone. Brought back into the slot area for Ekman Larsson. And he whipped a wrist shot wide of the goal. Great setup there by Marner. Centering pass for Marner. Went off a stick to the far boards. Marner back to the blue line. Banks it in for Nyes. Back of the net for Matthews. Trying to get it in front. Marner arrives on the scene. Matthews gets it back to him. Marner with a shot. And that deflected wide of the net. Creeping in there is Ekman Larsson. Back to the point to Timmins. Back to Ekman Larsson. Shot deflects and goes into the near corner. And the Penguins are going to bank it, but cut off by Connor Timmins. He plays it back in the net for Matthews. Matthews against the boards. Trying to get it freed up is Nyes, and he does. Into the slot. McCabe completely fanned on the shot. Gives it back to Timmins. Now to Nyes. Now back to Timmins. Teams taking turns, hemming each other in. Nyes back of the net. Tries to get around Crosby, but couldn't. Now the puck comes free, and it is Bobby McMahon getting it back to the point. Leafs have gotten a change in here. Riley works back at the blue line. Cross ice to now on the far side for Pontus Holmberg. Back to McCabe. Back to Riley, left wing half-board centering pass deflects. Leafs are keeping it in. Tired group of Penguins down there. Riley again trying to center. Broken up by St. Ivany, and a penalty is coming to Toronto.
Oh, no. This is getting a little tough. Penguins have guys out. Some guys were out for over 2 minutes. And the Leafs are the team that takes the penalty. You could have called Crosby even on Nyes in behind the net if you wanted to go the chintzy route. Oh, my.
All right.
Oh, my.
3-0.
Wow.
Things should really start tilting the other way now that it's 3-0 on the penalty. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
Sportsnet 590 The Fan is your destination for Canadian football. Be listening Thursday mornings for a look at the games to come and Monday mornings for a recap of all the action. Get up to date with the Canadian Football Report.
Cheers, Leafs fans. Thank you for finding our unbelievable Toronto sports community where we hang out every single Maple Leafs game live. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new. Welcome to our awesome community. Make sure that bell is turned on so you don't miss it when we go live for every single Toronto sports game, as well as a lot of other sports events as well, which has seen the growth of this channel just take off. But it all started right here with the Leafs. Now let's get back to the hockey. Let's have some fun in the chat, and let's beat the Penguins. Cheers, insiders. Have a great night. We'll see you back in the chat.
Industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Penalty has gone to Pacioretty for hooking. A centering pass deflects off his stick into the far corner. Malkin playing it back in the net. Crosby got it ahead. The Leafs are able to get it free, but not out. Kept in at the blue line. Letang in along the boards, off a stick. Grabbed off there and quickly sent down the ice by Jake McCabe. Wholesale changes for the penalty killers. Number 1 power play stays out there for Pittsburgh. Brought in over the line. Into the corner for Carlson. Leafs get it in back of the goal. That draws a crowd. Carlson gets there. Lorenz couldn't get it out. It comes into the near corner. Trip there. Wow. No call as Timmins got lifted right off his skates. Onto the far boards. Carlson playing it back, and it's going to come out over the line. It's literally getting comical.
Boy, playing tougher is really
not a benefit, no. But it does show you that the officials do pay attention to the media, which is good.
Yeah, Leafs want to play tougher. So
yeah, we'll show you.
Taken 13 penalties and have had 6 power plays.
Brought to center, broken up by Nyes, but along the boards it comes back to the blue line. Here are the Penguins walking the line. Grzelcyk on the wing and into the corner once more. Trying to come out, Lars Eller. Back it goes to Grzelcyk with a pass down low to Eller. He tried to center in front of the net, and Raquel couldn't handle the quick pass. Kept alive now for Raquel on the near boards. Hounded there by Nyes. Back into the slot. Shot stopped. Rebound in front of the goal. Knocked away and cleared out and down the ice by Toronto's Steven Lorenz.
Jake McCabe spun around.
Pass onto the right wing side. Stopped and cleared again by Tanev, and the Leafs are going to get it out. Nylander breaking through center. Works in on the wing. Stops it up. Looks to make a play. Still has it. Played it back to the point. Here's Riley with the penalty over. And Nylander just failed to tap in one right at the doorstep. 3:14 to play in the period. Near side Riley. Back to the blue line. Ekman Larsson dishes for Nylander. Nylander protects the puck nicely. Top of the circles, it comes to Domi. His shot deflects wide. Ekman Larsson down low to come up with the puck. Oh, don't look now! Don't say! A penalty coming to Pittsburgh. It goes into the corner. Now comes all the way back into the Leaf end.
They're going home.
They're going home. Here's Matthews, toe drag and a toe save made by Blomqvist. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Going to be an interference penalty. I think we both agree that the McMahon goalie interference penalty was just, even though there was a little bit of contact made by the defenseman. The Benoit Pacioretty penalties were a little on the suspect side. And yeah, I mean, this is a cross-check into the back of Nick Robertson. The only argument you could have from a Pittsburgh standpoint is that maybe Robertson went down a little easily. But it was Jack St. Ivany that got him right in the numbers and knocked him down, and the officials got him.
Well, Nick Robertson knows his gazintas. 2 gazintas scored twice. So they've had 3. Maybe they'll owe us one. Back to the point. Riley, wrist shot in traffic, knocked away by Blomqvist. Rattled around the boards, but not cleared. Kept in there at the point by Pacioretty, but it is stolen back and sent down the ice by Pittsburgh. Riley will take it around back of his goal.
So Pacioretty draws in with John Tavares, not in the lineup tonight.
Illness, the reason for that, if you joined us late.
Yeah, draws into the power play, obviously, is what I meant.
Al Marner, round back of the goal, starts out with it. Marner working through center. Works to the line and in on the right side. Nylander down into the corner. Nylander trying to get it around the boards. That's drawn a crowd in the near corner. Poked up on the wing, and the Penguins will get it out and down the ice. Stollers, way out in the corner, plays it back of his own goal. I'm glad he's got good direction with that. Matthews to the line and in. On the wing and back from Nyes, but it didn't connect. Matthews in the far corner. Getting it back to the blue line to Marner. Marner between the legs, pass to find Matthews. Back it comes to Marner. Marner in the slot, near side! Oh, and an Ekman Larsson bullet was stopped by Blomqvist, and it's played to the line but not out. Marner filling in there nicely. Over on the far side for Nylander, centering pass. Nyes couldn't get to it. Back to the point again. Ekman Larson to Marner in the slot. Now to Matthews, and he whistled it off a leg wide. Kept alive by Toronto. Nylander, Ekman Larson, back to Nylander, shooting. That deflects off the glass. Ekman Larson keeping the puck in. Leafs are changing. Ekman Larson a shot. Matthews in front of the goal, and it's knocked to the near boards. Chopped along the wall, but not cleared. And now pushed out in center ice by Pittsburgh, down into the Leaf end. 26 seconds left to go in the period.
They've been the best the power plays looked all year.
I agree. Domi comes to center. Works in over the line. Domi on the left wing with a shot, and that was into the chest. Bobby McMahon letting it go, and held by Joel Blomqvist.
I'll tell you another thing. Max Domi, made a great play on the goal by John Tavares in New Jersey a couple of nights ago. Max Domi's had an outstanding night as well. Again, very noticeable. Dishing the puck well.
And I know the Leafs have a bit of a depth situation at center.
You like him in the middle end.
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. Yep. Penguins win the draw. Skated out at center. Knock it in over the line. Chris Tanev is tripped. Penalty coming to Rust.
Yeah, this is a cheapie. What are we at? 3-2?
3-2.
Okay. I love when we're right. 2.1 seconds to go here in the second period.
Problem is, we rarely are.
Yes. Which is
good.
Which is why it's important to bring attention to when we are.
Good idea. Good point.
Yeah. Rust. Tanev, to me, it was the tight turn that Tanev was trying to make away from him. The stick. Oh no, this is horrible. This is not. This is, Chris Tanev tries to tight turn away, and Rust is going.
I didn't touch him, and I don't think he did.
And he's got a pretty good point.
A shot right off the face-off is stopped by Blomqvist and Matthews. Oh, he got that away in a hurry. And the horn brings an end to the period, and a pretty productive one at that for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
But boy, how big is this power play going to be to start the third period? A minute 58 on the new ice. And an opportunity to take a 2-goal advantage.
Shots favor the Maple Leafs 23-17. And a 2-1 lead to take to the dressing room. Gord Stellick, Justin Cuthbert coming along. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This is John Palmarosi. On the new SiriusXM original podcast, The Road to Cooperstown, I sit down with Hall of Famer Mariano Rivera.
John, I used to go to bed crying because I couldn't communicate. That frustrated me so bad that I said, this cannot happen anymore. I have to learn the language.
The Road to Cooperstown airs Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89, and the all-new SiriusXM app. New episodes drop every Tuesday wherever you get your podcasts.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Michael Bunting of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You've always had the great ability to play with great players.
I think my style of play complements the top dogs, as you will, kind of go to those harder areas in the corner in front of the net and kind of create space for them and get them the puck and, help them create offense off of that. So kind of found a little niche with that.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, Rod Brindamore.
Kochetkov making that jump last year. What do you see in the net?
The kid wants it. That's the first thing. Is he going to be the guy that we're looking at this year to get after it and take a bigger role? Maybe. But we still got Freddie in here. I think he's got something to prove. So I think we're going to have a good battle in the net.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Flyers defenseman Travis Sanheim.
Is it a rebuild type thing? Is it definitely a playoff team in your mind?
I think last season, I don't know if anyone in our room was saying rebuild. We thought that we could surprise some teams, and I think we did that. A lot of guys that are coming back, and then obviously adding Meat Scott's going to be huge. So, we're looking forward to getting started and see if we can build off of last season.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Maple Leafs scored twice and now hold a 2-1 lead over the Pittsburgh Penguins after 40 minutes here at Scotiabank Arena in the Leafs home opener. Justin Cuthbert and Gord Stellick with you. And Gord, that period was in many ways about Max Domi's preference to pass the puck rather than shoot it.
It was the slick playmaker. Now first, didn't have a really good first period. You mentioned that for a home opener especially. So you got to take advantage of an opportunity. And within a minute, Pittsburgh caught on a line change. Of course, the benches, they're trying to match lines. And, of course, it's the long change here. So it was like a 3-on-0. Then it kind of was a 2.5-on-0. And Max Domi, when he did the leg lift, I thought, okay, he's really good at charades because he's not going to shoot it. But he made the great pass to Nylander. Tried it later on, did the leg lift, didn't quite happen. But that really got the Leafs off the kind of boost they needed. And Domi's played really, really well. I mean, that line's played really, really well. And it was a very, very different second period. I mean, you even look at not just that it was 2-1, they had that shift that ended with Pacioretty taking a penalty, but they controlled the puck for like 3 minutes. They had a complete line change while they're there. So it was a much more very impressive 20 minutes, but Max Domi got it going by setting up that beautiful goal to Willie, that beautiful pass for Willie Nylander's goal.
And we learned in that period that Craig Berube does in fact own a blender because Max Domi was in that position to set up William Nylander because him and Pontus Holmberg were swapped. Of course, with John Tavares out, Pontus Holmberg was momentarily elevated into that 2C role, but Max Domi and William Nylander formed a pretty important partnership in that period. It was a fortuitous bounce that allowed Domi to find Nylander on that 2-on-0 breakaway, and the scouting report should be there across the league by now. Domi not on a 2-on-0 is not going to shoot the puck in all likelihood. But yeah, as you mentioned, the leg lift happened later, and he almost leg lifted Bobby McCann into the goaltender. Yeah. Took a goalie interference penalty because he was going hard to the net. I don't know if he was expecting the pass, though, and it ended up working against the Maple Leafs in that way, though. But they do have a 2-1 lead because Matthew Nyes scored in the second period as well. It was a fortuitous bounce there, too, because it was just kind of a simple dump in. Caromed off the boards, off the side of the net, popped out right to Matthew Nyes, who was able to bury it, get the first goal for the top line so far this season.
Yeah, I think probably number 3 if you bet who's going to get the first goal for the top line. But nice goal by Matthew Nyes. And, to go back, because you mentioned about that swapping of Holmberg, we mentioned Holmberg had a real tough first period in many, many ways. So makes that shift. I wonder a little bit, is that what part maybe screwed up the Pittsburgh Penguin line change a bit, that it was Domi coming out for the first time with his new line, and did someone react and because, they were caught. Like I said, all of a sudden a line shift and you got like almost a 3-0 but to a 2-0. But then after Nyes gets it, then key thing is the Maple Leafs killed off a couple of penalties. Power play had a weird power play, but I got to say,
that set play with 2 seconds left or 3 seconds left, and you can see Mark Savard gesticulating from the bench where to position. Man, that was perfect. Bing, and Austin Matthews almost put it in with tenths of a second left in the period.
Leafs will have a chance to start the period on a power play. Mitch Marner did get a secondary assist on the Matthew Knies goal, so the only core 4 members still looking for a point would be the captain, Austin Matthews. It was the 4th goal in 4 career games versus Pittsburgh for Matthew Knies, so he stays hot against a team he likes to play, and I guess the guy who drafted him as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. It was kind of a fun one. And I always talk about when he came back in the playoffs, started with the Leafs Matthew Knies that year. And, of course, like I said, Kyle Dubas didn't have a lot of draft picks. He tended to trade them away at the deadline. They went for it. It never really happened. So it was nice when a second-round pick comes into fruition, and I was really impressed jumping in the playoffs a couple years ago and understanding he's got a great chance like Michael Bunting had to try to seize it and be on this big line.
Let's take a break. We'll go through the out-of-town scoreboard next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall, from house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations, from your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
As fall approaches and birds head south, a different kind of bird emerges, the Subaru. While migratory flocks seek warmth, Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive keeps drivers soaring through the wild. During the migrating season, Subaru's hunger for adventure grows exponentially, driving the intrigued radio listeners to fall for Subaru at their local Subaru dealerships, experiencing an adventure of their own. So migrate to your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
This fall, stream the biggest games and live events on Sportsnet Plus. NHL. Are you watching this? MLB postseason. Soaring into history. NBA. Oh my goodness. He's done it. UFC. An absolute stunner. And more. Unbelievable. Holy cow. Stream hundreds of games and live events every month, anywhere on any device. Catch all the action this fall starting at $19.99 a month. Subscribe now at sportsnetplus.ca.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
NHLshop.ca, the official online store of the National Hockey League, and Canada's largest selection of officially licensed NHL fan gear, with unique one-of-a-kind designs by Fanatics, and all the latest styles for every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLshop.ca, a Fanatics experience.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Nylander closing in a goal! Scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The Maple Leafs hold a 2-1 lead over the Pittsburgh Penguins on Hockey Night in Canada, Saturday night, Scotiabank Arena. Leafs did well to gain some ground on the shot board as well. 23-16, the shots in favor of the Maple Leafs. And they gained some ground in terms of the penalty disparity at the end of the period as well, gaining 2 late power play tries. They will start the third on a power play with Brian Rust in the box for tripping. One interesting development did come out of that late period power play, which was that the top unit stayed on for a little longer, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson got out there with them, and we were kind of talking a little bit in the press box. Ekman-Larsson got a shot off, one-timer, kind of at the top of the circle, and it comes off the stick harder than it does with Morgan Riley for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I wonder if this is something they're eventually going to get to because he is more dangerous. Let's just call it as it is, as a shooter on the power play.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, this goes back to when Tyson Barrie came over for that year that never really worked out, right? The Nazem Kadri trade was Tyson Barrie coming from Colorado. He was going to be that guy on the power play. He was going to get 1,000 points. He was going to get the huge contract.
Yep.
But he got Mike Babcock, who decided, you're going to do it my way, and it never got going. And Mike Babcock got going, and Tyson Barrie at the end of the year got going. And you're right. It's sort of like Morgan Riley is that real quality defenseman, but he's not the Norris Trophy candidate, and he's not the power play threat, kind of like you see Erik Karlsson or Chris Letang on the other side.
It's just the shot quality. It's the threat, and good power play quarterbacks, great power play quarterbacks, that is, have that shot threat. Let's look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. Earlier today, Bruins got a 2-1 overtime victory over the LA Kings. Devils currently owning a 4-2 lead over the Capitals, end of 2. Also end of 2, Canadians 2-0 over the Senators. It's 4-2 Sabres over the Panthers. Utah up 5-4 over the Rangers, end of second. 1-0 the Red Wings lead the Predators. 1-0 the Wild lead the Kraken. And 1-0 the Stars have an advantage after 1 over the Islanders. Still to come tonight, Blue Jackets Avalanche, Blackhawks Oilers, Ducks Sharks, Flames Flyers. Gord, the only Core 4 member we are waiting on for a point is Austin Matthews. It did seem like he came alive, though, at the end of that second period.
Oh, he had a great period. What a great period. I mean, that was the best period he's had of the 8 so far. So it's going to come, but that was the big presence. First on the puck, stripping others of the puck, being a little physical. So here Austin Matthews not on the score sheet, but probably the most impressive Leaf that period. And so big cactus. Not gonna worry about him. Just want to, be great to do it on this power play. Get a 2-goal lead, see some momentum. Don't play with a 1-goal lead for the rest of the way.
Well, I don't think we use big cactus enough. It is pretty good.
Yeah.
The only difference, by the way, between Tyson Barrie and Mike Babcock right now, only one of those guys can get themselves a PTO. With Tyson Barrie, obviously, with the Flames. Yeah, big third period next. This will sort of frame the way we're talking about the Leafs to start the week. If they can hold on to this lead against Pittsburgh.
Yep, be 2-1 compared to 1 or 2. One team's going to be quite happy with their start. The other, that's going to change it. And this crowd, home opener, the crowd was out of it the first period because the team took the crowd out of the game, which isn't supposed to. They were alive the second period. That was more like it. The building rocking. Saturday, Hockey Night in Canada, home opener. Way better vibe heading into the third than heading into the second.
20 minutes to protect the lead and enjoy your weekend. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph have the call of the third period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hey, North America, it's Jelly Roll.
You ain't nothing but a liar.
Beautifully Broken. Jelly Roll's new album is here.
And this weekend, he's sharing all things Jelly exclusively on the highway.
Including all 22 Beautifully Broken songs.
These songs describe all of us at some point. It's the best way to describe me for sure.
It's all gonna be alright.
The Jelly Roll Beautifully Broken Weekend. Hear it now through Sunday.
On the highway, Channel 56.
And streaming in the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone.
Hey, Insiders. Check out our Sick Kids campaign link. We've made it to $300 raised in this campaign for Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. Now, it's wrapping up. The Create 100K is wrapping up for this year. It will be back again next year, but we will have to shut this down here in a few days. Please check it out if you have not already. Click the link that is pinned in the top of the chat as well as in the description if it's not pinned there because I'm pinning those, fun hockey chats in there. But thank you so much for your support throughout these campaigns here for Sick Kids Hospital. Is a place that is near and dear to my heart, and I know a lot of yours as well. So cheers to that, everybody. 300 so far. Let's see what else we can add. Have a great night in the chat. And let's go Leafs.
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favorite SiriusXM FC shows on the all-new SiriusXM app, now available for all subscribers.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Joe Bowen and Jim Rout back here with the Leafs leading 2-1 here in their home opener. And a week this coming week on Thursday, I'm going to be back in my hometown in Sudbury for a very special event. We were just talking to the granddaughter of the man involved, George Armstrong, the longtime captain of the Maple Leafs, Stanley Cup winner. They are rededicating an arena in Garson, where he grew up, to be the George Armstrong rink. And I am absolutely honored, and it's a great privilege to go home and MC that event. Really looking forward to it. Wendell Clark, Darryl Sittler, and Rick Vive are also going to be there. So a big event. As the Leafs get it across the line, they're on the power play here. Marner in the far corner, centers. No one there, and it's shot out on a bounce down the ice. The other aspect, we're going to stay Friday. The Sudbury Wolves are playing at home. My son David does their play-by-play. I'm going to get to do color with them, which is going to be pretty neat.
Pretty hard.
Yeah, it is. I'll steal your notes and just change the names to protect the innocent. Here's Ekman Larsson at the near point, down into the corner, centering pass, and Nylander could not quite handle that quick feed from Marner.
And Craig Berube's seen enough of the first power play unit. Power play they had in the second period.
It was outstanding.
Yeah, great puck movement, a lot of opportunities, and this time again, it's the inability to get the puck deep and set up.
Here's Domi working through center, weaves to the left wing side. Robertson gets his pass and back to Riley. A centering feed was blocked. It comes to the near wing, and it's going to be chipped out into the center ice area and backhanded the rest of the way by Drew O'Connor down into the Toronto zone. Quickly back the other way comes Domi. Had it swept off his stick. Riley has to circle back. Morgan Riley to the red line. Launches it high into the left wing corner, and McMahon goes in to try to create some odd man situation there, but it was quickly restored by Pittsburgh, and down the ice it goes, and that'll do it. 6 seconds left in the penalty. Timmins will bring it out. Tried to play it in. Where'd it go? It bounced over to the left wing side, and Crosby is there, and out of the penalty box is Rust. Sends it wide of the net into the far corner. Broken up by the Leafs and pushed out at center ice. Here's the chance now, working in a rush. Shot, scores! It's Marner off the bench, and the Leafs have a 3-1 lead. That was a bullet.
This might be an unassisted goal. The puck goes around the Leaf net into the corner. Matthew Nyes takes his man, and the puck keeps up the right wing boards to Marner, who now at full speed chips it past. The Pittsburgh defender gets some room down the right wing side and rips it from the right wing face-off dot, far side, inside the post, blocker side, to give the Leafs the 3-1 lead. But this was just such a smart play by Marner to get it past Pettersson on the right wing boards and take it the rest of the way, finishing it off with an absolute snipe.
Now here's the Leafs again in front of the net. A bouncing puck comes in front of the goal. Here's Reeves trying to get to it, but they're calling a glove pass. The puck was bouncing in front of Blomqvist.
Yeah, it was Ryan Reeves in front of the net looking for the loose puck. I think it was David Kemp. Was the Leafs on a rebound in the midair trying to get it to the front of the net. But the Leafs, who have given up a power play goal in all 3 games now to start the season, do not have a power play goal, but after the power play ends, Mitch Marner gets the Leafs to 3-1 on the scoreboard.
Played down into the Pittsburgh zone. A long lead pass for Beauvillier. Mirroring him into the zone was Tanev. Drop pass and a shot blocked in front of the net. Rebound cleared into the corner. Now comes back to Beauvillier, and he had it stolen, and Marner's away. Marner to center, a little saucer pass in for Matthews! Oh, and he's robbed by Blomqvist. The big guy can't buy one yet. But you do know, when he does, they tend to come in bunches.
Yeah, it's not in drips.
Nope. Pass ahead for Pontus Holmberg. On the wing to Bobby McMahon. McMahon stops it up to get it back to the blue line. McCabe was able to keep it in. Now it is knocked to the line, but not out. Brought right back in again by Toronto. In along the boards is Holmberg. He's taken in against the corner boards. McMahon trying to help out. The puck is underneath the fallen Leaf player who gets pushed down, but the Leafs come away with the loose puck again momentarily. Pacioretty getting it freed up for McMahon. Pacioretty trying to get it back to Pontus Holmberg. Works the boards. Boy, that could play that game in a phone booth down there. It was pretty tight quarters. Finally, both teams getting a change in, and the Leafs Penguins have it back in their own end. Played back into the Toronto zone. Near boards for Malkin. Malkin trying to kick it along the wall. Brought back to the point. It'll come to Carlson. Goes D to D on the far side, and a long shot deflects high and wide of Anthony Stolarz. Now Timmins loses it. Good play, though, made there by Benoit to bail out his defense partner and knock it back to the net. Back to the point. Big collision in front of the goal. And a penalty. I don't know. Can you sort this one out? I don't know.
This is the fun part. Who got it? It's Simon Benoit. All right, I think it's going to be the call. I don't know, was it Malkin that maybe Benoit got his stick on? Second penalty of the night for Benoit. Oh my goodness. I mean, I realize how fast things happen down on the ice. I realize we have the benefit of replays that are slowed down.
And it is kind of interesting. And
however, nevertheless.
That was my point. I didn't know who was getting what. High sticking.
And I don't believe there was any contact.
At the point, Letang plays it back. Trapped by Malkin. Carlson on the point to Letang once more. Now Carlson with it. Goes to Letang, middle of the ice, into the left wing corner. A shot in on goal. Blocked the rebound. Cleared away nicely there by Marner. Puck back to the net. McCabe got tripped, but there was no call there. And as a centering pass flips to the goal, it's caught by Stolarz. And Anthony Stolarz will stop play and bring a face-off in the Toronto zone.
Stolarz has been solid. Long stretches without a lot of work for Stolarz in this game, which can be difficult. And I think Dennis Hildeby went through the same thing in his start against New Jersey. I think it was 12 minutes into the second period before he saw a shot, period number 2. Armin? Whenever we're not sure.
No.
Armin?
Yeah, just replay the game quickly there and just make sure we're fine. Brought by Malkin, back in over the line on the right wing. Crosby gets it to Carlson, can't center. Off a skate, played back into the corner, but it was fanned on. Now Carlson, back to the point to Letang. Letang into the middle of the ice, trying to saucer it off to Carlson, but it was intercepted, and Rust is able to keep it in. Penguins with a shot, blocked in front of the net, quite inadvertently, and now the Leaf player, Lorentz, is tripped in neutral ice and no call. Brought to center by Pittsburgh. 20 seconds left in the penalty. Out of the net is Stollers, trying to play it himself, and it is shot down the ice by a teammate as Nyes got there. Stollers got it to the blue line, but it was knocked down by a Penguin, and fortunately Nyes was able to help him out. Now Tanev along the boards for Nyes. Back for McCabe. McCabe banking it ahead. Way out of the penalty box came Benoit, but he couldn't accept that lead pass. Leafs back in their own zone with Jake McCabe finding Chris Tanev. Tanev with a pass up ahead for Nylander. Willie turns. His brother got an assist in a Marley victory this afternoon. Round the boards to the far side. And it is played ahead. Matt Murray picking up the victory for the Marlies. Down into the corner. Leafs in their own zone. Domi has it played off a glove to center ice. Nylander almost stole it and then stayed on side for Robertson. And Fanning on the shot, but he comes away with the loose puck. Back to the point. Far side, fed in by Timmins. Timmins again with a shot, and this time it's into the chest of Blomqvist. And he will stop play with a save.
All right, when we were talking about Armin earlier, and I asked him about Tampa, because I know Nyes now has 4 goals in 4 games against Pittsburgh. I said, I think it's the same as Tampa. It's 3 goals and 4 points in 4 games against Tampa. So Armin's off to a good start.
He's on his game.
Yeah, we're gonna bring him back next game.
Who is Armin?
Armin's over there. He's the fellow to your left. He's been here the last 4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah.
I never noticed him. All right, you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Sports Grid Radio on Sirius XM has you covered this NFL season.
The AFC East juggernaut Buffalo Bills take on a Jets team without former head coach Robert Saleh to close Week 6 of the NFL season. The line opened with the Bills as a 1-point favorite and a total of 47.5. Make sure you tune in to Sports Grid Radio to stay up to date on all the latest.
The place to get the winning edge over the sports books this football season is Sports Grid Radio. Channel 159 in the car and on the Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them, because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
No one keeps you closer to U.S. soccer than Sirius XM FC.
We're now joined by U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino.
The country is about to compete, to win, and to give everything. What we need to translate to the fans, we need to be protagonists, we need to be aggressive team, an entertainment team, because we are USA and the culture is about to win.
Hear more from Mauricio Pochettino on the Sirius XM app. Just search FC.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Radio Network.
Armin's busy preparing his note to management about a raise, and while he's doing that, we can tell you that Andrew Holland is working the buttons here, and Andrew Adams is busy back at the station. They're not getting nearly as much airtime as your man. Penguins send it around back at the net far side. Timmins playing it up on the far wing, and Pacioretty can't get it out. Now Timmins to Ekman Larsson, and up on the left wing for Bobby McMahon. Played in deep into Pittsburgh territory. Against the boards. Grabbed off there by the Leafs. Fed back in along the wall. Another good hit in there by Pacioretty. And the Penguins are able to get it free. Pittsburgh comes in with a record of 1-1. Lost badly in their opener. As did Marner touch the puck? Linesman says he did, so no icing. Now cut off by Marner, and he tried to center it in front of the net for Matthews. That didn't work. Matthews back of the goal, unable to reach it. Kept in at the blue line by Marner. Riley will send it wide of the net. Chipped in front of the goal by Matthews. It comes to Tanev. Back in behind the net for Nyes. Nyes kicks it in front. A shot right on by Matthews was stopped. Matthews coming out of the net is tripped How can I see it up here? Pass on the left wing for Nyes. Nyes turns on the backhand. Plays it around back of the net. Marner now to Matthews. Matthews in the corner. Banking it to the blue line. And it's going to be offside. Steven Lorentz got on, but just didn't quite get to the blue line in time. Keep that puck in. So 10:51 to go in the third, 3-1 leads.
Guess there's no real pressure on evening things up, because that would have been a fairly easy call as Matthews coming out. I mean, he's tripped. I mean, if you want to call Benoit for tripping in the first period, you got to make that call, but Matthews doesn't get the benefit of the doubt.
Down into the Pittsburgh zone it goes again. Lorentz couldn't come up with it. Penguins play it through center, intercepted. Quickly back comes David Camp in over the line with Reeves. A backhand went wide of the Pittsburgh goal. Penguins with it back in the zone and into the far corner. Lorenz gets a hit in, and the puck comes out at center ice and in over the line into the Toronto zone, but the linesman has blown this play dead. And we get Michael Bunting and Simon Benoit having a little bit of a chit-chat.
Michael Bunting signed in Carolina a little over a year ago, but was part of the Jake Gensel trade. That sent Gensel to the Carolina Hurricanes and Bunting over to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Numbers were down slightly after back-to-back 23-goal seasons with the Leafs.
He found a spot on Matthews' wing, though, didn't he?
Yeah, 90 goals, 55 points. Still a pretty good season.
Centering pass by Pittsburgh goes to the near boards. Nylander shot the puck. I'll handle that part.
Yeah.
Shot the puck at his own goaltender. Good save made. And now we get an icing call here against Toronto. You know, that's just because you played the position and realized that the people in front of you weren't always helpful.
Nice. Thank God we do have help here, though.
Yeah.
Armin and Andrew.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. If we had to get here and set up the technical stuff before a game,
we'd be using 2 cans and a long string.
I mean, they get us on the air and keep us there and feed us stuff, and we're just 2 incredibly talented broadcasters doing the best we can.
Incredibly. Puck in the zone. Here's Robertson starting back up ice at center. Flips it in. Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
In the corner it goes, and Letang circles the net.
I mean, live for myself.
Letang gets it to the Leaf blue line, and it's backhanded the rest of the way into the zone by Beauvillier. Al Matthews up on the far side, rink wide to the near wing now for Marner. Marner back to Riley. A shot off the side of the goal goes to Matthews. He stood up there but couldn't get the puck back of the net. And the Penguins will flip it into the Toronto zone.
What's up, hockey fans? Thanks again for hanging out with us this evening.
Playing it off a stick and over the line. Pittsburgh is able to recoup and now throws it high down into the Toronto end. Chipped back along the wall and to the line by Nyes. Battles hard to get it out. Does a great job doing just that. Carlson can't get it any further, and the Penguins go back in their own end to regroup. 8:35 to play third period. The Leafs trailed 1-0 after the first. They've scored the next 3. Penguins back at the point. Carlson on the right wing side. Oh, and he just missed that far post. Someone's broken a stick here, but I think all of the Leafs have theirs under control, and it's shot out at center ice now by Toronto. Kevin Hayes gets it ahead in over the line for Malkin. Malkin dropping it back. Right wing side. Trying to break in was Raquel. That was stopped. Played back of the Toronto net for Jake McCabe. Reversed back of the goal for Benoit. Long lead pass is deflected by McMahon into Pittsburgh territory. St. Ivany getting it out at center. A lead pass comes back in over the Toronto line, but Bunting couldn't get to it. Now Bunting gets back on side to allow Malkin access. Malkin gets it back, and they score! Evgeny Malkin, who has been a thorn in the side of the Maple Leafs for his entire career, scores career goal number 499. And here in Toronto, he has been excellent. 24 games played, now 10 goals, 23 assists for 33 points.
The Penguins jump on a loose puck at center. And the Leaf forwards going the wrong way as the puck was batted down, comes back the other way. Malkin drops it for Raquel. Does it glance off Malkin, though?
I think it does, yep.
He at least picks up the assist on it, but he dropped the puck and then went to the net.
Now a scramble in the Toronto zone, and goaltender Stollers is down to cover up on it. 7:17 to play, and it's a one-goal hockey game. The Leafs lead 3-2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
What's up, insiders? How we doing? 3-2 Leafs lead here in the final stanza of the evening. Hopefully no overtime. I don't want to see that chat in there. I don't want to see any overtime answers to Pike's question. All right, 7-2 final. Let's get a few more here, buds. Let's do it. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. A big shout out to the super chat this evening from Pierre LaBelle. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. As well, our brand new members, Elizabeth M. and Dwayne C. Thank you for joining as insiders. As well, we have Kilo G. Welcome back, buddy. Good to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for re-upping that membership so you can access those awesome emojis. Anybody else that'd like to do that and get their name on the list here, please click the link. It's in the description. Check it out. If you're on an iPhone, you got to go to a computer. It's a pain in the butt, but whatever. Android users, much easier. Or on the computer. If you're watching it there, TV, I have no idea. But Leafs, let's get after it here in this final few minutes of this matchup. We've got 7:17 to go. Joe and Ralph back on the call. Let's get back to the hockey. Big shout out to everybody here in the chat. Johan Jotun, thank you for hanging out with us. Abdullah Kanji, wrong score, buddy, but hey, thanks for hanging out with us. As well, Stefan, Richard, Pierre, Pike, all of you guys, thank you all. Mark Daigle, cheers, my man. All right, back to the hockey.
So now it's not Malkin. It's going to be Raquel who gets the goal. I thought it went off.
Yeah, Raquel let it go, but you're right. I thought it might have changed directions the way Stollers reacted to it.
So it is 3-2. Leafs in their own zone. Play it around back of the net for Ekman Larsson. He'll drop it back. Rink wide finds Marner. Now ahead for Ekman Larsson, and he'll ring the boards with it. Down the wall comes a pass for Nyes. Nyes works into the corner, was hit there and unable to penetrate, and brought back now by Letang, who gives the puck away to Max Domi. Domi in on the wing now for Nylander. Robertson going to the front of the net, and down to cover up his Blomqvist at the side of the goal.
Leafs have improved as this game has gone on. The first period, really flattered them, only to be down a goal, and they have them out shooting the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first by a count of 10-6. But it was a period that the Leafs were fortunate to get out of only down a goal. And as things have gone on here now with 6:20 to go in the third period, the Leafs seem to pick up momentum. 5-on-5. The power play, it's only been a couple of them, but it's still been a work in progress.
Played down into the Toronto zone, and it's going to be an icing call here against Pittsburgh. 6:11 left in the third period, and the Leafs leading by a score of 3-2. Letang opened the scoring, then Nylander, Nyes, and Marner scoring for Toronto, and Raquel scoring for Pittsburgh along with Letang.
And as far as the faceoff dot goes, without John Tavares in the lineup, the Leafs an even 50% in the draws, 21-21.
Domi taking the draw here against Lars Eller. At least they were. And now Domi is waved out, so Nylander is moving into the circle. Wonder next year during training camp if the experiment of Willie Nylander playing center will be tried again. It's lasted for about 2 periods. Played down into the Toronto end. Penguins in against the end boards. Ekman Larsson gets to it. Flipped it ahead for Robertson. A bank pass for Domi. Domi back in for Robertson. And a penalty coming to Pittsburgh. Robertson's back of the goal trying to center. Gets it back to the blue line. One of the Penguins is limping badly here, trying to stay in the game. It's McGroarty. Now into the corner for Matthews. Matthews is tied up. The puck is touched. And the penalty coming here.
That was the speed of Nick Robertson driving to the net that draws this penalty. And with 5:34 to go, the Leafs again get an opportunity to help put this game away. 1-goal lead to this point.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
SiriusXM presents a brand new exclusive show with former UN Ambassador, Governor, and presidential candidate Nikki Haley on Nikki Haley Live.
Join me on Nikki Haley Live, a show where we talk about facts, policies that affect your family, stories from the campaign.
Hey, Insiders! Check out our Sick Kids campaign link. We've made it to $300 raised in this campaign for Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. Now, it's wrapping up. The Create 100K is wrapping up for this year. It will be back again next year, but we will have to shut this down here in a few days. Please check it out if you have not already. Click the link that is pinned in the top of the chat, as well as in the description if it's not pinned there, because I'm pinning those, fun hockey chats in there. But thank you so much for your support throughout these campaigns here for Sick Kids Hospital. Is a place that is near and dear to my heart, and I know a lot of yours as well. So cheers to that, everybody. 300 so far. Let's see what else we can add. Have a great night in the chat, and let's go Leafs.
In the corner in front of the net and kind of create space for them and get them the puck and, help them create offense off of that. So kind of found a little niche with that.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favorite SiriusXM FC shows on the all-new SiriusXM app, now available for all subscribers.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Face off in the Pittsburgh zone. Power play coming up.
By the way, the point by Evgeny Malkin, 37th player in NHL history to hit 1,300 points. Thanks to Armin for that.
Face off to the right of Joel Blomqvist. The Leafs win the draw. Ekman Larsson to the far side. Sent in by Nylander. Gets it back at the point. Ekman Larsson gets his feed. Back it goes to Nylander. Nylander with a pass in front of the net. Unable to redirect it there was Nyes, and then it's poked out at center ice and forces Ekman Larsson back into his own zone. Interesting, Ekman Larsson quarterbacking the power play here, at least number one. In across the line for Nylander. Around the boards, it'll come to Nyes. Nyes works back into the corner for Matthews back to Nyes, back to Matthews. Down the boards, Ekman-Larsson trying to keep it in. That's drawn a crowd right along the near boards. They bang and bash and poke, and now Marner comes out of the scrum with it. Marner to the right wing side, got a shot away, it was blocked. Ekman-Larsson will follow it up to the near side to Matthews. Back to Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson, a behind-the-back pass for Marner. Into the corner now to Nyes. Nyes saucers it all the way back to the blue line to Matthews. Matthews walks the line. Far side Marner. Marner with the pass in. A redirect was stopped. Ekman-Larsson keeps the puck in. Back to Marner. Marner in the near boards for Nylander. Nylander still with it. Works from the half boards down low. Nyes goes back of the goal. Finds Matthews in the far corner. Back it goes to Ekman-Larsson. Shooting. And he fired it high over top of the net. 29 seconds in the power play, and it's all been down in the Pittsburgh zone. Matthews, far side Willie. Nylander near boards now for Marner. Marner with the puck. Working back into the slot area and giving it off to Nylander. Nylander across ice speed. Pass in front of the net off Nyes' skate, but it went the wrong way. Pittsburgh gets an opportunity to ice the puck, and they do.
Good movement. I like the fact that Ekman-Larsson, Joe, trying to fire it from the point to get it through into the net to give the Leafs a different look that way, but still looking for the first power play goal of the season.
Played out at center ice for Bobby McMahon. Tried to get it ahead for Domi. That didn't connect, but brought in by Brian Rust now for Pittsburgh. Got it ahead for Malkin. Malkin in along the boards far side. St. Ivany trying to center, but it was blocked. Played into the corner. The Penguins come away with it, though. Back on the left wing side, a shot gloved by Stollers. And with 3:05 left in the third period, face-off coming in the Toronto zone, with the Leafs hanging on to a 3-2 lead. And that power play was effective, but not productive.
Now they had the one late in the second period, the one to start the third period, too. Could have built a 3-goal lead. I mean, so often it's like so many other stats. A lot of times not how many you get, but when you get them. And in a one-goal game at home late in the third period would have been a perfect time to get one.
Leafs entertain the LA Kings on Wednesday night. We'll have that action for you. As the shot from the point blocked, then Malkin bowls over goaltender Stollers, who throws his stick behind him. So the Leafs got a goalie interference penalty, but none there. Al Matthews, back of the goal for Nyes, couldn't come up with it. Matthews works it back into the slot for Marner. Marner, left wing side, Ekman-Larsson. Played down into the corner. Nyes trying to get some body on the puck carrier there was Crosby. And it comes free to Peterson, who will look up ice, then turns the puck back, and Nyes is onto it. Nyes by himself coming out in front, and he was spun off the puck. And he looks to the official about being spun illegally. Nylander, a pass ahead. Lorenz couldn't come up with it. Penguins with 2:08 to go, keeping an eye on Blomqvist. Penguins in with a pass in front. Big save made by Stollers. Game saver right there from Anthony Stollers. Played back down into the Pittsburgh end. Out of the net, Blomqvist. Lorenz has it pinned up against the boards. Trying to get some assistance there from Nylander. Kept in then by Jake McCabe. And both Lorenz and Nylander going to the bench. 1:40 to go, third period.
Boy, that was Drew O'Connor that let it go from the slot for the Penguins.
Mike Sullivan waving at the goaltender, and with the puck behind the Penguins' goal, Blomqvist has gone to the bench. Penguins are back in their own end. Here's Letang. Working it ahead. Dropped again and set up ahead at the left wing. Malkin shoots it into the Toronto end, but it's blocked. And it comes all the way back into Pittsburgh territory with 1:08 to go.
Might have hit Letang.
Mike Ross with the information, as brought in by Raquel. Trying to play it back, it comes to Carlson in the Toronto zone. Carlson, a shot from another rebound in front of the goal, and that was stopped, and it is flipped high down into Pittsburgh territory. It won't have enough to go for icing. Well done there by Mitch Marner.
Another big stop, though, by Stollers through traffic off Malkin.
38 seconds left. Down into the corner, Domi. In the Leaf zone for Tanev. Comes in front of the net for Willie. Got it ahead for Domi. Back to Willie. Empty net. Willie's in on loan. Goes in and scores! William Nylander thought about Nice and then thought, let's not screw this up. So into the empty net it goes. And the Leafs have a 2-goal lead with 22 seconds left.
And that should help the Molson 3 Stars a little bit.
Really? You're gonna think that that's gonna help?
Yeah.
Yep. Are you picking them?
I am now.
1938, the time of the second goal of the game and second of the season for William Nylander. As it goes down into the Toronto zone. The Maple Leafs are going to win their second game and their 9th consecutive home opener. And will be ushered off the ice to a standing ovation. All right.
Not a great start for the blue and white, down 1-0 after 1. Power play had some decent looks, but nothing to show for it. Now, when it's said and done, 3-star selection. Now, see if you agree with me on this.
All right.
And I had to slide. I thought Max Domi was terrific tonight. Yep. I did, and I had him as the 3rd star until Willie got his second. So I got Nylander first, Mitch Marner with a 2-point night as second. Anthony Stollers came up with some huge saves again in the last 2 or 3 minutes. So I'll go back to the goaltender being the 3rd star of the game, but honorable mention to Max Domi, who I thought was outstanding as well.
I'm telling Ty.
Okay, Max first. Ty second.
Ty second.
and whoever Ty wants, third. Yeah.
All right, so the Leafs will entertain the Los Angeles Kings on Wednesday, following up a home ice victory here, 4-2 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Gord Stellick and Mr. Cuthbert coming along with the post-game show as the Leafs win it 4-2. You've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
There's a Molson with your name on it.
Every fantasy football champion makes one defining move.
You are just a season-long fantasy football player. Don't overvalue wide receiver, cornerback. Seriously.
Fantasy Sports Radio can help you make that move.
Use your bench to improve your lineup. That's what your bench is for. This week is proving why that's the case.
Listen to the best analysts for lineup advice, trade questions, and roster moves. Make your move with Fantasy Sports Radio, Sirius XM 87, and the Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
You either put up or shut up. Marchand does, Doughty does, Stone does. And if you don't have enough of those players, get rid of them. Because they'll make you lose. They'll frustrate the fan base. I want people that are with me, rowing in the same direction. And if you can't, get out of town. We'll find someone who can.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
This is the NHL. These are pros. You don't want guys to put good power play units on, don't take penalties. You don't want good power play units to score goals when you've given up a whole bunch, kill them. You don't like it, do something about it. If you want to reward your guys who had a good game with a chance to get some more goals and points, do it. If I was a coach, I wouldn't care. Who cares? Worry about your own team. Don't worry about mine.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. NHL Morning Skate.
Michael Bunting of the Pittsburgh Penguins. You've always had the great ability to play with great players.
I think my style of play complements the top dogs, as you will, like kind of go to those harder areas in the corner in front of the net and kind of create space for them and get them the puck and, help them create offense off of that. So kind of found a little niche with that.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The head coach of the Carolina Hurricanes, Rod Brindamore.
Kochetkov making that jump last year. What do you see in the net?
The kid wants it. That's the first thing. Is he going to be the guy that we're looking at this year to get after it and take a bigger role? Maybe. But we still got Freddie in here. I think he's got something to prove. So I think we're going to have a good battle in the net.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Flyers defenseman Travis Sanheim.
Is it a rebuild type thing? Is it definitely a playoff team in your mind?
I think last season, I don't know if anyone in our room was saying rebuild. We thought that we could surprise some teams, and I think we did that. A lot of guys that are coming back, and then obviously adding neat stuff is going to be huge. So, we're looking forward to getting started and seeing if we can build off of last season.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Leafs got an insurance goal for Mitch Marner and needed it until William Nylander deposited one into an empty net. 4-2 winners. The Maple Leafs are over the Pittsburgh Penguins on Hockey Night in Canada, the first Saturday of the season, and the home opener here at Scotiabank Arena. Gord, that was a pretty good night here at the bank.
The fans are going home happy, Justin. That's the key. First home game, make it a tough place to play, make it a tough place for the opponents. That's something to set up as you get in the playoffs. Try to get home ice advantage in the playoffs, and that all goes hand in hand. It was a pedestrian first 20 minutes, so they capitalized on a chance, a bad Penguin line change in the first minute of the second period, and after that, what a great 40 minutes of hockey. You got a little bit interesting at times, a little bit of sloppiness, but way, way, way more positives than negatives for the Toronto Maple Leafs in that final 40 minutes.
So the process here, watching the Leafs under Craig Berube, you're trying to pick up on things. And one thing I picked up on this game and late in that game is how much Berube is going to ride his big guns, his top line, late in games in order to complete them and get to the finish line. And I thought Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and Matthew Nyes were out there every other shift, it seems, trying to consolidate this victory. Love that Berube leans on number 34 specifically for everything late in game. Best players on the ice, closing things out. It wasn't without a few scares, but the top line really, really did deliver in the late stages of that game.
So the 69 goal scorer doesn't have a goal, but he had the best 40 minutes. He was a dominant player, and again, two-way player, penalty killing. I know a lot of that happened last year. You're seeing Oliver Ekman-Larsson, becoming a little bit bigger role that he's scoring under Berube. And the big thing was adapting. We talked a lot about Pontus Holmberg getting a great chance to be on the second line where you thought maybe Max Domi would be there. Holmberg just had a terrible first period, and he made the switch, and Domi made that pass to Nylander in the first shift, and Max Domi had a great game as well. So a big part of coaching is the in-game adjustment, figuring out who's hot, who's not, what little tweaks to make or not, and Craig Berube pushed some good buttons tonight.
Yeah, maybe he isn't so rigid because we did see some changes throughout that game, and one other change notably was that Oliver Ekman-Larsson was out there late with the top guys, 5-man units looking for offense, hunting for goals, included Oliver Ekman-Larsson in that game, late in that game, including a power play. Interesting to see if he can help facilitate that top line. We're going to get to Leafs talk in a moment, but the NHL scoreboard is presented by Bet365, but at the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, must be 19 plus. Ontario only, play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca. Earlier today, Bruins a 2-1 victory over the LA Kings. Devils holding on to a 4-3 lead over the Capitals. Sabres beat the Panthers without Barkov and Tkachuk 5-2. It's 5-5 Rangers in Utah late in the third period. 3-0 the Red Wings beat the Predators. It's 2-2 right now. Kraken Wild end of 2. End of 2, the Stars have a 2-0 lead over the Islanders. And the Blue Jackets are off to a 2-0 lead early over the Colorado Avalanche. Still to come tonight, a trio of 10 p.m. games. Oilers and Blackhawks Blackhawks, Ducks, Sharks, Flyers, and Flames. Something to build on here for the Maple Leafs. A 2-1 record after 5 days to start the regular season, and 2 wins over familiar foes in Sheldon Keefe and Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, that's right. About wanting to beat your old team. In both cases, the Maple Leafs didn't allow that to happen. They've only got one game. I'd like to have more games this time of year, but teams don't like to schedule home games around the NFL in the States. So they play home against Wednesday against the Kings, home next Saturday against the New York Rangers. So, had they lost this one, you got 3 nights to, the 1 and 2 start, 3 off days to talk about it and kind of let it fester a bit. So, it's only one game, I get it, but early in the season, these things tend to magnify, at least in the fans' eyes. So 2-1 looks extremely, way better than 1 and 2.
We'll be on the air next Saturday for the Leafs and Rangers. Ailish Forfar will be back for that one. Let's turn it over to Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus and Sam McKee. You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The big guns, a bunch of them finally get on the board. But, Sammy, I got one question for you. That's the most important one of the show.
Uh-oh.
How many times did a family member interrupt you while you were trying to do your work and watch the game?
But, at one point during the game, my sister and mom were, trying to be like, does this picture look good on this wall here? I'm like, dude, the Leafs game is, can we just watch the game?
Yeah.
They're like, my sister's like, what do you guys prep before the show? I'm like,
yeah,
you're looking at it.
Had a real moment where in the middle of the game, my mom, who's a sweetheart, love her to death,
of course,
came down and did the most classic mom move ever of just like, do you want any of these old photographs? So yeah, Leafs Talk from home is a little bit of a different thing. I was like, I'll look at them later. Just try to be nice. Just try to be good. Anyways, the Leafs do beat Dubas's team. Mm-hmm. They beat Sidney Crosby's Penguins 4-2. Bit of a slow start, but they got going in the second period. I thought they found their legs. Mm-hmm. Again, some of the big guys get on the score sheet. What was the story of the game for you, bud?
I think for me, it was probably Marner's breakout tonight. I thought Marner at the start of this game was still the first 2 games Marner, little non-decisive, little bit, hope plays that were happening out there and the ones that you were texting back and forth with. But I really did think that he turned it on halfway through this game here, and I thought he kind of took it over. Thought he had a ton of dominant shifts. Thought he was really, really looking like vintage Marner tonight. The play he makes, obviously the goal he scores. I don't know about that assist that he gets credited for. I'm not sure how they thought that was an assist, that bounce off the end boards that hits his skate and lands on Nye's stick or whatever. But his goal was beautiful. He set up Matthews for another breakaway, buzzing defensively. I thought he was excellent for the second half of this game, and it was nice to see him kind of break out of this because Willie gets his in the first. Matthews still yet to get one here, but it looked like one by one we're starting to see him break out a bit. I thought Marner was dynamic for the second half of this game. So that's the first thing that jumped out to me.
Listen, I think it was just, for me, it was just the core guys, the core 3 guys, the forwards, because I thought all of them played really well tonight. Again, I thought it was a slow start for the first line. I actually had written down in my notes, this isn't good enough from them.
Yep.
This is now looking like it could have been 3 games where they're just very on the perimeter. They ended up with 1 chance in the first period, right at the end. Matthews broke in and got a look at the net.
Yep.
But I think all 3 of them, because to me, you're right. I agree with the sentiments about Mitch Marner. I thought that William Nylander and Max Domi showed a lot of chemistry tonight. That line is going to be a bit of a, if they continue forward with it, if they continue to give it a look, it'll always be trick or treat, right? They got hemmed in a bunch of times. They clearly are going to give up some opportunity. I bet you if you look at the fancy stats for them, they might be kind of 50-50 for the evening, right?
Yeah.
But the creativity of those 2 players, the patience of those 2 players when they're together, I think it's a nice fit, and it's a nice break from what they do have in Tavares, who's missing tonight with an illness. And then Matthews doesn't score, doesn't get a point, and I'm sure he's going to be frustrated with it, but how many opportunities did he have tonight?
Yeah.
He had a few breaks, right on net. He had the one that I thought he was 100% going to score on when it was delayed penalty, where he breaks through the zone by himself and gets to one of his sweet spots, clear, clean look at the net, wrister, save by a goaltender that you became aware of today.
Yeah, I'd never heard of him. Couldn't tell you his name. Gun to my head right now. Couldn't tell. gun to my head right now, it's all over because I couldn't tell you the name.
I think
Joel Blomqvist or Bloomquist. Is that correct? There you go. I got it.
I thought they overcame a bit of a slow start, stuck with it, and the Stars really just kind of took over and tore up the Penguins for the rest of the night.
Yeah, I think the Penguins stink. I think they're.
I have that in the notes.
Like I don't know if we want to do that here and now.
Sure,
but it's funny watching that team play. It's such a Dubas team, but he doesn't have 4 of the best players in the league at the top of it. Where it's kind of like what the Leafs were, but they had Matthews, Marner, Tavares, and Nylander, who were all in their prime and able to carry the team. And it's like the early Dubas years where it's like nobody's in the bottom 6. These guys that are just like, kind of analytic darlings or just sort of journeyman guys. And it's just, there's no juice in that lineup. Like, what's their identity? Like, I never say anything bad about Sid, but I didn't think he was very noticeable tonight. Evgeny Malkin gets a ghost point. Beautiful goal for Chris Letang. He was the one that popped the most to me tonight. That was an awesome shot that he had on the power play. But I think it's going to be a long year for the Pens. And like, I just don't know what that team is. So, I'll take any chance to crap on Dubas, but like, boy, that team looks like they suck. Like, I don't know how many points they're going to accrue this year. They look ugly.
I think that this is just the case with teams, especially in hockey, after you've won and when you age, is the Blackhawks went through the same thing. You want to pay guys for past production, and I think Sidney Crosby's on a good contract, but the Letang one was tough. Malkin, that one's going to age poorly. They bring in a general manager who gets aggressive right away around that old talent and tries to reward them with another old player, and you see their roster, which is that it's very Dubas-like.
It is.
It's a bunch of fringy players that don't really make an impact on a game. It's traded away first-round picks, to get Karlsson, but the difference is that you don't have young core talent. You've got old core talent. So I'm with you, and they're really weak in that. Honestly, it's like a lot of Dubas calling cards. Honestly, it's like weak in that
with a Sue Greyhound on the top line who probably doesn't belong there. It's like
Sue Greyhound top line.
Play the hits.
Yeah, Wes Clark in the building. It's honestly they just became the Leafs, but the Three Rivers Leafs. Anyway, I just don't think that Penguins team is gonna have a very good time. They scored on the power play, though, so that's something they really struggled to do last year, and they did it against the Leafs. I think Holmberg, I don't know what happened exactly on the first goal, but I think he lost just where he was, who he was marking, and just had a big old brain fart and let Chris Letang walk in into just – when's the last time Chris Letang got a shot that clean, that
clap?
Nice.
Yeah, he was just like, this is so much space for me to walk into, and it's not often you see that big a reaction from a guy who like makes a mistake in a defensive position. He did the classic head to the rafters, like, my God, I'm embarrassed. Goes to the bench, bangs the stick. He seems to be a guy that Berube really likes. Like he's going to him a lot. Like he gets to bump up to the second line center tonight when Tavares isn't there, which is funny. Like, it's as an aside. And it's like, we're going into preseason. We're going into training camp. Nylander at center again. It's like the third game of the season. Tavares is hurt or sick. And it's like, Pontus Holmberg is your second line center. You won't even go to it tonight? Like, he just will not go to it.
Off that he had to take. That was as much center as Nylander.
I know. So we don't need to get bogged down in that, but I just thought that was hilarious.
No, but again, if you're not doing it now and you're not doing it in that game against a crappy Penguins team at home, I don't think you're ever going to see it. What do you think about though? Like, because I agree with you on the Marner thing. I was going to say if there's anybody you kind of want weirdly alone on net, like breaking in off the rush. Like he might be the guy almost more than Matthews. Like I swear like when he breaks in alone, he finds ways to score. Sorry, I hit the desk there. That was
earthquake and arm
not an earthquake. I got the laptop propped up. I didn't realize that my makeshift propping up here wasn't as sturdy as I thought it was.
It's funny that like to me, that is Marner's signature goal he got tonight, where makes a great play, and boy, he put Sid in the blender on that goal. I hated to see that, but just blows by Sid. And he comes in off that wing, and that reminded me so much of his first career goal. I think it was against Tuukka Rask and the Bruins, where he cuts in off the right side, and hammers one low blocker. That's his move. That's his shot. He loves low blocker, and he's really good at it. He's really good at it.
Like it's honestly like how Sundin had the backhand.
Yeah, it's him. The low blocker wrister.
It was just every goalie, hey, don't bite the fake. He's going to go to the backhand.
Yeah.
And how many times did we watch Sundin? Bing! That beautiful backhand. That's basically
nice
the same
shot.
with Marner. Same move. Like, not obviously the same move as Sundin. I'm saying like one signature move that works for him.
Yeah. No, he was like, I loved his game tonight. And listen, I wanted to see a game. I know it's 2 games into the season, but these guys have not looked like themselves through the first 2. Like, I know they had their moments, but a lot of it was super perimeter based. And like, especially in that first game against Montreal, where I think that 48 shots was, one of the most misleading stats, where it was like they had tons of shots, they had tons of possession, but not a lot of them were quantity. The second game, clearly the bottom 6 shows up, but they're not there. You like it on a Saturday night against a signature franchise and Sidney Crosby, and as bad as they are, and it's still the Pens, it's still Dubas coming to town. You love your stars rising to the occasion in this game and playing well, and I thought all of them did. So that was nice to see.
Agreed.
Good, nice goal.
Would you give Nylander Domi more games if Tavares
sure.
can come back? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You try it again. I think you try it again.
I would do exactly that. Like, I've been saying this. I don't know why they don't go with the Tavares, Pacioretty, and Bobby McMahon line and try to like grind teams down low and play the way that the Leafs want. You can really tell, like, they're way more north-south than they used to be. And the mandate for the defensemen of like, there's no cute to the D right now. They're just like, get it out, break it out, break it out, get it out. No D to D, just out. Well,
a lot of it has to do with personnel, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And like what Tanev and Oliver Ekman-Larsson have brought to this team through 3 games. It's like I said, it's materially changed what they do. Like they just have 2 guys. They've added 2 NHL defensemen who, when the puck is on their stick in the defensive zone, it's not an absolute grenade. And say what you will about TJ Brody. He had a first couple good years here with the Leafs, but the second half of the second year and the last year of that contract were an absolute nightmare. He was beating it to a square for a year and a half, and replacing him, his minutes with Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Tanev, like, it's just, you can get the puck out now and you can snap a breakout pass. And like, I got to tell you, I'm really, as much as we talked about Tanev last game, one of the big points for me and one of the things that's jumping out to me is Oliver Ekman-Larsson is pretty good. Like and that's a big AMAC take from tonight, but he's like, oh, I really like that Ekman-Larsson. My dad was all over. He's like, he's big. Classic dad analysis. But he was snapping it around tonight. He's involved. He makes good reads. Like, I know there's going to be a spot this year where he makes a Dumbo read and he's aggressive and it's a big spot. Like, I know that's coming, but like, he has a good feel, man. I've just really enjoyed him through 3 games. I've liked him way more than I thought I would. That's for sure. Through 3 games. It's early, but we can only talk about what we've seen.
Yeah. It's the games that we've watched. He's looked phenomenal. Like, he really is. He's strong. He makes good reads. Like, I got nothing really else to add on it. He gets more power play one time tonight.
Yeah, and he deserves
it. He jumps up in it. Pacioretty gets a look at it. Hey, guess what? They still can't get the puck into the other team's zone. They still can't set up.
Savvy. Has there ever been an assistant coach with a hotter seat through 3 games and Savvy? They look worse. How are they worse?
Yeah, it's bad.
It's unbelievable. Like, they did have the first one. They actually had some zone time where they were snipping it around a little bit, and it looked like and they had a good chance on the last one there, where it goes off Matthews, the redirect, the high tip in the slot, where they get that chance on that power play. But outside of that, there was not a whole lot going on there.
It's the zone entry. It's the gaining the zone and being able to set up and sustain pressure. Like, it just doesn't happen. It's like most of the power play is their guys going back and setting up again. And I thought, hey, maybe no Tavares, you'd see it a little bit different tonight, and you got a couple of different personnels, but ultimately the results were the same. And to me, there was some decent process with it. You mentioned it on the first one. Thought the last one, again, there's a little bit more, but it's
got to go in the net. It's got to go in.
Coming out of the, they get a gift of a penalty at the end of a period.
Oh my God. That's the worst call there will be all year. Like, actually, I think.
Well, the McMahon one was, the Benoit one was like, this ref made, hey, listen, we don't talk about the refs, but the ref made 3 horrific calls tonight.
The one on Pacioretty, when they were dominating the zone, they had the puck in the zone for a minute and a half, won every battle, and he gets his stick, like the slash, like a centimeter too high. Ref is just dying to call it. It was insane.
Pens players been in their own zone for
here we go.
minutes.
If you're watching on YouTube, this is the worst call ever.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, not good. Yeah. So yeah, we don't talk about the refs, but there was kind of notable. There was a couple of spots there where the refs got involved. But yeah, them coming out of that one in the second period, it was just, what was that? Like,
I'm kind of happy they didn't score on that one. That's hockey gods. You don't deserve one on that power play. That's the one where you hope you don't get one, but that's usually the ones where the really good teams make you pay on the cheap ones. But yeah, not pretty.
Yeah. Nothing else really major for me in this game. I got some small stuff, but I will say another good game for Stolars, like big, quick, solid tracking. Yep. It's just so nice to have it be normal back there. It's just,
you're not thinking about it.
Well, just think about how this could have gone with the Bowl injury. Like if he starts off with a bad game and then Hildeby goes in and gets shelled, you're like, oh my God, the whole season is in disarray. And instead, those two guys have completely settled down the net. And, you see Wool in the player intros and he's there. And people give him a bit of a cheer. And I went,
okay. It'd be nice to see you.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see you in the pads. There was a moment right at the end of the game. I think they had the goalie pulled, and I don't know whose stick it landed on the slot, and it was a grade A chance, and it just hit him. Like there was he's just so big, and he was just square to the shooter, right in the sweet spot, and there's no sweat. Like it just hit him. It goes out the other way. Like he is a capable NHL goalie who has the upside of being a really good NHL goalie. Like there's clearly going to be a downside to this at some point. He's going to have low stretches like anybody would, but he is giving you what you've wanted for the Leafs, where it's just normal, good goaltending. And this
played the Habs and the Penguins.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yep. Listen, he's played a couple crappy teams, so that's a great point by you. And they put Hildeby in against the Devils, aka the 70s Habs that everybody was talking about it after the first two games. So yeah, good goaltending from Stolars again. And God, the setup when he's wearing the blue jersey,
it's gorgeous. It's just so perfect. It's just so good.
So good. Like he looks so good. Like he must just be, man. If I was him, I'd just go to bed every night just looking at pictures of me in that setup. Like that's all I would do. Just like, oh yeah, that's another good pic of me. Like he just must go on the Leafs Instagram being like, I hope they post a pic of me tonight because boy, I look good.
100%. That's a great take. That's a great take. Just reshare pictures of you from the Leafs Twitter account every single time. Or their Instagram account.
Yeah.
Last one for me in terms before do rapid fire. A really good game for Nyes too. Just his skating has clearly improved from a season ago, and he's got a man body. And there's he has a moment every single game where somebody just underestimates his size and strength, and it results in either Dougie Hamilton ended up on his ass, or tonight a goal where it comes off of him laying a hit. Marner gets a gift of an assist. I don't know how Marner got that assist.
Must have just touched his skate. That's it.
I watched it multiple times. I was like, I don't see where this hits you. But whatever. Nyes gets that goal, and it's a huge season for him, man. It's a massive season for him as an RFA and someone who's going to prove he's going to stick on that top line. And I've said it a bunch on my show. I really believe that Berube has to stick with the competition thing. And if somebody else is going, give him a look up on that top line. Yeah. So Matthew Nyes, this has got to be a thing that he continues to earn throughout the season. That isn't just given. And I thought he earned it tonight.
Absolutely. Looked awesome. And when Kevin BX is starting to notice, like he did the whole pack on him in the second intermission where he's talking about all the stuff that he's doing and that he likes him.
I didn't see that. I was watching UFC.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was I wasn't watching too closely. I was listening to my family talk about interior decorating, but I was trying to watch Kevin BX to talk.
Mom started asking me to do multiple errands. Can you unload the dishwasher? I was like, sure.
Just be nice to your family, man. Be nice. But yeah, he was talking about just like the things that you pointed out. And that goal is nice. Like it lands on his stick in the sweet spot, but he hammers it home and he's excited. Nice Sally. Like he's happy to be playing with those guys and he's got a huge opportunity. Coach clearly likes him. And this is the type of guy that Berube probably looks at and is like, I like this a lot. 6'3", strong, can skate, can shoot it. I can mold this guy into one of the premier power forwards in the game. So loved him tonight.
Anything else big for you? Or can
I got a quick rapid fire one. So I got a few rapid
fires. Go ahead. You can go first.
You mentioned, I sent you a picture of this and we both had a very big laugh over it.
Really
you mentioned player intros. Boy, that Liljegren intro was really dark, dude. Have you ever seen a more no, just like, well, the crowd in general was horrific. I'm sitting in this, like, at my sister's cottage. They've got this beautiful, like, surround sound room. and I was blown away by how quiet it was. So that's beside the point. It's always quiet there, but like tonight,
tonight was even, I'm sorry to do this. We're doing crowd talk right now. We're doing crowd talk right now.
Brutal.
Think about Montreal night one and how that barn is just popping and how this is the hockey mecca, supposedly. Like, people love to pride themselves on it and whatever. I know we're going to get all the excuses in the chat and all the crying about how Leaf fans always take it, but beating, but it's like, it's so embarrassing, man.
Embarrassing.
Like, it's player intros. It's a brand new head coach. And they introduced Berube. It's like, welcome to Toronto. Like, welcome to Toronto, brand new head coach that everybody thinks like, yay.
It's all the boys in the share club, bud. They don't care. They're all hammering their margaritas before the game. They're not watching.
Like, there's just it's embarrassing. Like, it really is embarrassing to watch that crowd react that way. Like, again, it's an exciting night. It's against Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a Saturday. It's hockey night in Canada. And it's just Dubas, it's fired at Sid, and you get a crowd that, in my opinion, is just like as lackluster and quiet as it gets. Like, again, all I want is during player intros, it's like you think about the Yankees, right? Like a marquee franchise in sports and how they do the roll call. And
the roll call is one of the coolest things in sports.
Yeah. And I think about the Leafs where you go, man, you really want to wear it. And it's like, I think Domi and Matthews got the loudest pops. Maybe Nylander in there too. Marner's was sneaky loud, but that was it. And everybody else was like, Reeves got decent, but again,
classic Toronto. That's vintage.
Weak. It was weak. It was a weak performance. I don't care to say it. I know it's cheap, but it's it's a soft target. I don't care. It's weak. I hate it. I'm embarrassed by it every time.
But you're up 3-2 in the third period. Can we get a goalie go? Can we mix in a goalie go?
I heard one faint goalie go in the second period that faded away immediately. I was like, yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah.
But they showed Liljegren's face. That man, get that guy out of here. Like, let that guy go. No, man. The look he looked up to the jumbotron. He's like, I'm not.
I think he's got one of those faces.
Let him play. Like, let him go somewhere or play him or do something. I just feel awful for him. I actually felt bad because he was supposed to be part of this. He was like one of the guys, a first round pick. He's been in this he's played a bunch of games and he's just not the right fit for this. And he's just rotting. And I think it's like Timmins has been better than he's been at times. Like, he's been fine. He snaps it a bit. Like, he's noticeable. He does something out there where Liljegren, all his stuff is so subtle and so sort of just mid. He does a lot of things just okay. Yeah. And Timmins has a skill where he can snap it or whatever. Anyways, I just thought Liljegren during that player intro was like the saddest thing I've ever seen. It was horrible.
I will never
send him to San Jose. Let the guy play. Jesus. Sure.
I'll never stake a position that Timmins is better than Liljegren because it's just but to me, the only thing that I am enjoying about the Liljegren situation, because for him, I feel for the guy. Like, he wants to play. He's 24, 25. Yeah. Like, he wants to get on the ice. He probably doesn't feel like he got a fair shake. I'd say he did with the other regime, and he's
got a lot of. I mean, how many games has he played? He's got a ton of chances.
He's also making $3 million. Like,
you're right.
All right, man.
You're right. I don't feel bad.
Yeah. I don't feel bad. So, and if anything, you get to go look at your buddy Sandin's situation and go like, hey, maybe that can be me. Like, go prove the Leafs like that you're a capable player. But the only thing I'm enjoying is some of the online discourse around this player is got to be some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, if you think Liljegren's awesome, great. If you think Liljegren sucks, great. The idea that you would spend multiple hours on social media, like, debating and discussing, and
I saw a Devon Taves comparison with Timothy Liljegren on the internet.
I saw that one. I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of the usual suspects.
But it's a lot of the usual suspects. He's Team Canada top pairing. Like, what are we doing?
I know. It's like, that's what I'm saying is some people, for whatever reason, they can't just say like, yeah, you know what, this guy isn't what I thought he'd be, but I think he didn't get a fair shake. And instead they still got to be like, he's elite. He's amazing. It's like, we all have eyes. Like, we've watched him for years. Like, he's up and down, fine, mostly nothing special.
Great against bad competition, and then as soon as he goes up, he falls down. That's what it is.
It's just this idea that like Toronto's, if he was anywhere else, you'd kill for him. Like, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'd have watched the Penguins game with Liljegren tonight and been like, if only we could have that guy.
I got to tell you, I haven't missed him a ton. I got another. Go ahead. Yeah, we can move off of it.
No, I know. I'm just saying that I think it's so funny that so many people are out there just like going back and forth about the merits of Liljegren or not. It's like, okay, I just, if you're such a fan of his, tell me the moment that he's had in his career where you went, wow.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I literally couldn't.
Tell me one time you can remember him like playing. It's like what he did. Anyway, it's just whatever.
I haven't missed the game for 3 seasons, and I have not one memory.
There you go.
I have a couple thoughts. They're more. It's more like jersey related. But Rutger McGroarty, which is a hard name to say,
disaster,
absurd. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Like, listen, in my whole life, I'm a forward. I've worn number 4 my whole life. So I'm a single digit forward guy, which 4 is borderline defenseman. But like, you know, you think of Vinny LeCavalier.
I think for you,
Sean
I think for you, but like, I just, you know, I'm like, it's pretty fringy. Like I would say that for you to be bringing this to air, like is a little.
2 is way worse than 4.
2 is worse. I agree.
2 is insane for a forward. I can't believe he's wearing 2. But then they were doing the whole Chris Cuthbert did such an incredible job. He was talking about his dad, Jim McGroarty, like, and how he's like a coach in the London area or whatever. And he's like, you got to look at his hockey DB. Did you look at his hockey DB?
God, no, I was watching the game.
His hockey DB is incredible, dude. Yeah. Like, he played in 1998-99 on the Asheville Smoke with Brent Gretzky, with Gretzky's brother. Dude, like, he's got an insane hockey DB. So anyone who's listening to this, go and look at his hockey DB. It's the most incredible thing. So
and he should have known better to let his son wear number 2 because
he played for the Daytona Beach Sun Devils in 93-94. What did that look like?
I got to tell you, McGroarty's dad loves the game. For him to have that hockey DB, to have played that long in that many horrible places, but then also
Sabercats.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. For him to have bounced around like that and still played and have that DB page, but then also to be missing his son's game with the Leafs because he's out coaching hockey, minor hockey, is incredible. That guy's that guy loves hockey, loves the game. Good for him.
91-92 Streetsfield Derby, 65 tucks in 41 games.
Wow.
Pretty good season for old
Pretty good. Pretty damn good. Nothing else for me. I will say McGroarty ate it. Domi faked him out of his shoes.
My God. We have that? Oh, if you're watching on YouTube. Oh, man. Yeah, that was tough.
That was a tough one. That was a tough introduction. You know, maybe it was good your dad was at the other tournament for that one. He didn't have to see that one.
His dad was scouting the Tacoma Sabercats. He couldn't watch it.
Anyways, anything else for you?
No, I'm all good, bud. That was a fun game
everybody.
Tonight.
Hey, thanks for listening. The least you could do since it's Thanksgiving weekend and we're working is hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the podcast, leave 5 stars, follow on Twitter and Instagram at JDBunkus at Sam A. McKee. And we will see you Wednesday. We got a little bit of a break between games here, so we'll see you Wednesday night.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Mondays on City TV.
My heart is racing.
Life moves forward.
It's a scene I've seen so many times.
Love finds a way.
And this time, it's me.
It's Jones time.
I am greeting the next love of my life.
For another chance at love.
I'm not scared anymore. I'm ready for the journey to begin.
The Golden Bachelorette. All new. Mondays 8/7 Central on City TV or stream it on City TV Plus.
Fall for Subaru by enjoying fall to the fullest. Think scarlet, burgundy, amber, crimson and copper, but never, never blue. Because with Subaru's symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive, fall is for thick, dark mud splats, terracotta mountain roads, radiant sunsets, kaleidoscopic leaf carpets, and the boldest of adventures. Avoid autumn blues and visit your local Subaru dealership to book a test drive today.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Explain it to him, will you, please? He said, I will. Don't worry, I'll look after it. So as a result, we fast forward now to the playoffs in Game 6, playing New Jersey. In the Jersey series, I double shifted him. When he had to come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse. And it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out, but he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him. He could dangle and hang onto the puck, and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there. So
in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him, because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I just said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin for the Morning Skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. SiriusXM Channel 89.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Saturday, October the 12th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 1 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the LA Kings. Bruins on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 921. Kings on Internet 932. 7 p.m., Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Maple Leafs on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 946. Penguins on Internet 941. 7 p.m., Detroit Red Wings take on the Nashville Predators. Red Wings on XM 221, Internet 929. Predators on Internet 935. 7 p.m., Buffalo Sabres face the Florida Panthers. Sabres on XM 219, Internet 922. Panthers on Internet 931. 7 p.m., Washington Capitals face the New Jersey Devils. Capitals on XM 201, Internet 950. Devils on Internet 936. 7 p.m., New York Rangers take on the Utah